Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's me, Twos, joined by my co host. Oh, wait a sec. Sean isn't even here right now. He is what you might call late. So, we're here today to talk about the absolutely unbridled shit show that is everything Ottawa in general, but mostly today. So, I don't know if anybody knew what happened lately, but yesterday, Sean Fraser, the Minister of Housing, I think it was his latest purview, used to be the Minister of Immigration, arguably two of the worst things going on in Canada right now, has decided to pack it in. And in classic liberal fashion, he is going to spend more time with his family. And everybody thought that was a big deal yesterday. But 24 hours later, nobody gives a fuck. Because today, all right, so right off the bat, we got Chrystia Freeland resigning, writing a scathing letter a few hours before what was supposed to be her last act as finance minister before she got kicked out was to read the fall economic statement, which was an absolute dumpster fire. It's worse than you could have imagined. It was slightly better than what I imagined. It was only 63 billion deficit. I had figured it was going to be about 67. So hey, props to them for managing my expectations a little bit. But yeah, she quit, wrote a scathing letter, released it publicly. Trudeau no-showed the whole fucking day, which is classic him. Oh, are we going to shut down the entire economy? Merman. And so then he welcome back with the crazy goings-ons, Uncle Twos. Zane, always a pleasure, buddy. Double dose of twos this week. Gun show. Yeah. So anyways, it's a one-man show basically. Well, you know what? I'm not sure if I agree with that. Well, you have to because I'm the only one here. So, yeah. And then chaos erupted. Question period was a gong show. Jagmeet Singh has called on Justin Trudeau to resign, but won't commit to voting to no confidence. And I'm really disappointed, as usual, in our establishment legacy idiosyncratic idiot media, because the question should have been, do you have confidence? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you have confidence in Justin Trudeau? Because he's like, I want him to resign. And they would say, well, are you going to vote no confidence? And then he says, everything's on the table. But if you just say, do you have confidence in this man? Yes or no? And then get him to answer that question. You're asking that question without actually asking that question. Because if you ask it straight up, he's going to dip, dive, dodge, duck, and dodge. Although something tells me that guy probably would not be able to dodge a wrench. So, Jagmeet Singh, in probably the worst day in parliamentary history for everybody looking like absolute goddamn retards, comes out as King Downs. I don't know where else I should be going with this. We've got people agreeing with me, which is nice. Sellout Singh has confidence in his pension only. That's the thing, is everybody says it's for his pension, but the simple fact of the matter is that the NDP is a fucking broke party. Like, believe it or not, the party that is not good with money, of, taxpayer money, is also not good with their own fucking money that they get from their donors, as few as they are. So, if anybody's been paying attention lately, Kaylin Ford in Alberta is successfully suing the federal NDP party for court costs for her defamation lawsuit, because she can't sue the provincial NDP party because they technically don't exist. So she got something like 30 grand, which is 10% of their liquid assets. She got 1/10 of the NDP party. Like, honestly, if she just does that 2 more times, she'll get one of their letters. And then they'll have to start calling themselves the DP party, which, oddly enough, would be more accurate for anybody who lived in Saskatchewan in the early 2000s or in Alberta 2015 to 2019. And yes, hello, Heather. It has been an absolutely crazy day. I don't know. Do you guys want to see a really funny picture? This is good. This is good. Actually, I got a few of these. I was just lining these up before we went live. I got tired of waiting on Sean. As usual, Twos is doing the heavy lifting, and Sean is nowhere to be seen. We don't even know where he is. Somebody do a wellness check on this guy. Is he alive? Is he dead? We're not sure. But check this out. This is what CBC looks like right now. Not a happy face in the crowd. Their darling, their love, the person that they absolutely adore, couldn't even be bothered to fucking show up for work today. What do you do other than laugh at these fucking guys? And by the way, this is really important. I don't think anybody else has pointed this out yet. This is, so if you remember a few years ago, they spent something like $70,000 designing the cover of the budget. Well, this fall economic statement seems to be no different. You've got some unbuilt houses, a whole bunch of various minorities, some people playing street hockey, obviously not in Ontario, because that's fucking illegal now for anybody who watches the Mashup every week. But this is the coup de grace. This is the best part of it. Look at this bottom right picture of the girl with the curly black hair. I'm going to zoom way the fuck. I can't zoom here. Well, maybe I can do it like this. Look at that. She is inside the store, and she's putting a sign on the door that from here says open. But the idiot who took this picture, who was probably a liberal, doesn't realize that if the sign on the inside of the door says open, the sign on the outside of the door says closed. Am I taking crazy pills here? Did nobody even think of this? Oh, I don't know how much longer I can keep going. But luckily, I have a guest coming in hot. We have Mr. Clyde. Do something. Are you ready to go, Clyde? Just kidding. You're on anyway.
Yeah, all right. I'm live. Sure. Yeah, I popped in. I knew it was gonna be backstage, and now I'm front stage, front and center. Welcome. Yeah. Welcome. Glad to be here.
Welcome. Oh, you're not used to saying usually you're
I'm
the guy
used
who
to
says
doing
welcome.
the other way around. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on your show, Clyde.
Yeah, absolutely. No trouble. No, thanks for having me. I'm gonna do a restream as well, so we'll be putting this out everywheres. Let's make that happen. I was expecting to be backstage and do all that, but hey.
And actually, sorry to put you on the spot, but we've just been waiting for Sean the whole time, and so I've just been freeballing just this entire monologue, and I hope he gets here soon. I don't know what's going on with him. Oh, wait, there's Sean.
There we go.
Hey, so glad you could join us.
Welcome to your show.
I told Twos tonight, because like the Liberal Party is an absolute dumpster fire today, and that's saying something for the Liberal Party, because I mean it's a dumpster fire on the best of days. But I'm like, Twos, if you just want to go, I'm not going to buzz you. You could just go. And so there you go. Twos is having fun. I've been sitting in the background.
And somebody named Paul says I look like I smell other people's laundry. Yeah, I think you're the one with the Downey syndrome, pal.
You do kind of look like somebody smelling people's laundry. How's Clyde doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to restream this so that you can get more people in on the chat.
Do it.
So that's why I'm like silently just staring at the screen here. But glad to be here, man. It's awesome seeing you guys. It's been a minute.
Well, I know we talked about wanting to do something, before, trying to get a whole bunch of us together before Christmas. I don't know if this counts as it or not, Clyde, but
I guess that counts. I guess it does.
I mean, at this point, if you have my number and you want to hop on a little bit of a round table tonight,
did you get the audio figured out for that?
For what? Oh, no, not for that. I was just meaning if they want to hop in with a little video chat, we could probably pull that off. I mean, we're just like, there's been a lot go on today. Me and Twos usually wait till Friday, and we're watching on things unfold. Twos, I can't get. Yeah, no kidding. Here's Vance Crow, right? Vance says, so great to see Twos early in the week. I tell you what. Normally I can't
Nothing
get
but love
Twos
for
on the
that.
horn. I call him, he never answers my calls, right to voicemail. I text him, nothing happens. On and on it goes. And today, Twos blew up my phone. He's like, "Are you seeing what's going on? We better talk. We better have somebody on. We better do something tonight." So here we sit. I mean, I don't know.
Do something, and then my name comes up.
Right.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's like, I wonder what Clyde's doing. I'm sure he'll hop on.
Yeah, I love coming on the show. You guys are a riot. You guys are fun.
Okay. So was anybody here surprised, other than me, that we got a resignation letter from Freeland today?
I was kind of surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect it like that. I thought we'd have excuses, and then the last minute, like, here's the schedule. You know, here's how it's gone. Here's how bad we've put our country in debt. See you later. See you in however many weeks. But no, we saw a yeah. It turns out I did a bad job. Here you go. Resignation. That's awful.
Well, I mean, it's absolutely horrible. I think the thing that really surprised me the most about today was how surprised everybody was about how much of a dumpster fire today was. That's the thing that really surprised me.
I'm still catching up on how much of a dumpster fire it was. I mean, I was blowing wrenches all day, right? I do all my stuff early in the morning. I catch up on a lot at night, and then I do my videos in the wee hours of the morning, like 4 a.m., right? Waking up and doing this stuff.
Don't encourage it, Twos. He's pulling up the pulpit. You don't encourage it. Of course, Tuesday. Okay. There, we're going to go back.
I don't even know how that ended up there.
I'm sure. Carry on, Clyde.
You missed some of my DMs that I sent you, Twos.
I must have.
Yeah, you were inspiring Grok. I was messing around with Grok today. Grok, for those that don't know, got an update, and wow, does it know how to draw some of our officials from Canada now? Before, if you typed in Justin Trudeau or anybody, it was awful. It would be terrible. About the only thing it could draw was like Joe Biden or Elon Musk or Donald Trump. Everybody else was no go. And now, holy cow, can you do a number with that?
Well, I mean, it can't really be that hard to draw Joe Biden. You just draw a regular person and leave it out in the sun for a while.
That's it. Yeah, he's an old raisin, that's for sure. But yeah, so I mean, the reason being is these AIs, they need to pull a lot of data from a lot of things. There's some stronger AIs out there, and then there's Grok is growing. It was a little behind the curve, and I think it's gone pretty big.
Grok helped me out with a bunch of VBA programming a little while ago. It's really good at that.
Really?
Yeah. So anybody wanting to try and figure some stuff out in Excel, ask Grok.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know Excel at all. I can pull wrenches. I can do economics, but yeah, forget Excel. Pen and paper. My data sheets.
Here's an interesting. Harley says, "Hi everyone, a reason to celebrate. Is today a reason to celebrate?"
I don't necessarily know that there's anything to celebrate over. Krista Freeland, she's trying to escape responsibility for, and she even said that in her resignation letter, trying to make it sound like she wasn't the one that caused all these problems. She's the finance minister, and it's like we had the October report that is being released in the middle of December, on the 15th of December. Give me a break. It's crazy. And there she is, just resignation, and then a passing the buck, like, oh, Donald Trump, he's made this really hard for us, and Donald Trump's not
even here yet.
No, it's like another month and a bit before he's president.
But I mean, that's kind of a classic liberal move, is something's always somebody else's fault.
Oh, absolutely.
I do think it's really funny how this resignation letter is basically like a German guard in the tower quitting in late 1944.
Oh, right. And he's just like, I really didn't ever want to have anything to do with this stuff.
Yeah, this wasn't really my thing. This wasn't really my thing.
Oh no. Oh yeah, that's pretty bad.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Incidentally, wow, the analogy sticks. I mean, they did bring one of them into Parliament.
Yeah. Can either one of you two walk me through? So Freeland steps down. Then it's supposed to go to who?
Oh,
After
it was supposed
that,
to go.
it was Champagne.
It wasn't. Yeah, Champagne.
And
then
Champagne said, "Nope, not doing it." So then it was supposed to go to Randy Boissonnault. Is that true?
Well, yeah. So he was.
Excuse me.
Strong
Excuse
Eagle
me.
Man.
Strong Eagle Man.
Strong Eagle Man was supposed to be our finance minister.
Yeah, and then in classic Justin Trudeau racism, he passes over his chance to have a First Nations finance minister.
Like, this
what's funny is like
the state of Canada right now.
The guy who's like just stepped down because he's involved in embezzlement scandals was next in line to be the finance minister of the country. Yeah, that's it. This is the world we live in. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. Clown world.
Yeah. So, anyways, after all the different Randys also declined the role, then it went to LeBlanc. And then Justin Trudeau showed up for the swearing in, but that was it.
That was it. He got heckled on television tonight as he was leaving. That happened on live television. I think it was what did I see? CBC? I'll see if I can find that.
Yeah.
But I'm not wrong in that, Clyde, right?
Too. You're talking about Trudeau getting heckled on the way out?
Yes.
I don't know if that was live on CBC. I saw it live. I saw it on somebody's Twitter account. So I'll try to find some of these clips because you gotta show this one though.
All right, go ahead, bring it up.
I gotta share this with you. I'll send you the link. I guess put it in. Where do I put that? Is there a private chat?
There is a private chat.
So if you go click where it says 3 people. And then,
there it is. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one cracked me up.
I got it.
This one cracked me up. Charlie Angus swearing on national television.
How does the Prime Minister on the eve
first couple of seconds, you don't want to miss that.
Deep Six, his finance minister, and think that things are going to be normal? What concerns me is that we are in this serious crisis. We're facing a Trump administration coming in. We've got a Prime Minister who's missing in action, and now his deputy prime minister, his finance minister, has jumped ship. The prime minister needs to show up and explain how this gong show was allowed to happen.
I must have missed.
It's the first couple of seconds.
Okay. Here, be quiet. Everybody quiet. Everybody quiet.
What the?
On CBC Live, that was something else. Oh man, that's unreal. So yeah, I mean, there's so much more to go through.
Sorry for everybody commenting. The audio is super quiet on that clip, but there's nothing we can do about it. I had it turned up to 11.
Yeah, some people they'll upload things onto Twitter and it's just like the worst audio. Sometimes I'll end up having to I'll put it into an editing software
just to boost
crank up the volume just to boost it. Yeah, get it out there. Let me get some more of these clips because they're outrageous. Copy link. Here we go.
But I mean, even Not the Bee has picked this up. Not the Bee. Early Christmas, Trudeau reportedly considering resignation, and they got this picture of him from Leading Report. One of the ones where he's just doing the crocodile tears for the camera. Oh, man. They're going to be up all night trying to do damage control on this.
Mm-hmm. There's no doing damage control. How are they going to do damage? I mean, they're paid to try and do damage control. There's no doing damage control on this. There's a giant torpedo hole in the side of your already sinking ship. I'm surprised it's not already sunk yet. Except the captain's just like, I'm going down with the ship. Except he doesn't do it in a cool way. He doesn't do it in like this.
He just hides in his cabin.
Yeah, he's like, you're all gonna go down with the ship. You're not leaving it, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, this is something straight. Like,
but it's not an entire ship. It's just the poop deck.
It's just the deck. That's exactly it. This is insane. It's insane. And there's more clips, by the way, of Liberals asking for his resignation, as well as there's more. Well, so there's the clip I sent you there. That is him getting shouted at. I don't think it wasn't live.
All right, here we go.
But
here we go. So I'm not sure where this is from, but
right to continue. What gives you the right to stay in office? You failed Canada. You've ruined our country. You're done. Walk away. You don't have an ounce of your father's integrity. At least he walked in the snow.
He's walked in the snow.
Everyone around you is running from you. They're abandoning you. Freeland, Sean Fraser, they've all left you. It's time for you to go. It's time for Canada to have an election. You're not the king.
Yeah, you're not the king.
Hey, that was pretty fun. I like that. Yeah. Well, I mean, here's even I've got where is it? Here's Anthony Housefather.
Do you think the Prime Minister should resign?
Yes.
Why?
Because he's
I had asked him to do so a couple of months ago. I had written to him. I'd said it at caucus. I think strongly about that.
Do you think the Prime Minister should resign?
Yeah.
No hesitation.
Well,
you think the Prime Minister should resign? Fuck yes.
So, okay, are we gonna cut right to the chase, or are we gonna?
Yeah. What's on your mind?
Does Trudeau resign?
No.
I'm with you on that, and in fact, I hope he doesn't.
I really hope he goes to the next election.
Yeah, I really want Trudeau in that election. I want him to drag the entire Liberal Party down with him. I want him to take it out. Because they enabled him, they allowed him to do all the things that he did, all the way from the COVID through the Freedom Convoy, the Emergencies Act, all of this embezzlement. He's the captain of that ship, and I want him to go with the ship. I don't want him on some lifeboat. I don't want any of them on any lifeboats. I want them all to go down for everything that they've done. And yeah, resignations. Christopher Freeland, she even said today that she's going to run in the next election.
Yes.
As a Liberal. Like, what are you kidding me? That's insane. What say you on that sentiment, on the idea that he should run?
Well, he shouldn't run for the sake of the Liberal Party, but he should run for the sake of Canada. Because here's the thing is, one more election will put the final nail in everything that he's represented, everything he's stand for, all the bullshit that he's tried to impose on us and sometimes has imposed on us over the years. It's going to be absolute vindication. And it's going to be, you're going to have a whole lot of really embarrassed people saying, let's never talk about this again. And the minute someone tries to do some woke idiot thing in politics, be like, listen, Justin Trudeau 2.0. That's a bad idea. And that's the end of it, right? It'll be we'll have a whole nother generation before whatever idiot kid he has gets old enough to try and do this again.
Yeah. Okay, so we gotta talk about Jagmeet Singh. So I have a clip from him. I don't know.
Can we please bring up the other absolute idiot in this entire day? I don't know how he gets on stage and says this. I don't know how. I just I'm listening to him like.
So this one's got really bad audio because Jagmeet Singh is he's as good of a X user as he is a politician, and he doesn't know how to put it in there or record it where the dial is up. So it's very hard to hear.
He's not exactly known for his intelligence. So listen closely, folks.
Confidence in the Liberal government as soon as possible.
All tools, all options are on the table. People are hurting, people are struggling, and so all options are on the table.
Just to clarify, you're calling for him to resign, but you are not willing to vote no confidence in his government. How do those two things connect?
All options are on the table.
All options are on the table, folks.
All options are on the table.
You say he needs to resign, but then you're not telling us what you're going to do for non-confidence.
Telling you that all options are on the table.
Right.
That is unbelievable.
And also, are you willing to continue to support the Liberals if there's a different leader aside from Trudeau?
Right now, that's not in front of us. There's no votes in front of us, but we will take each vote. And right now, literally everything's on the table.
Mr. saying that all options are on on the table. So why are you holding out the option to still support this government? I understand that you're saying that you might, trigger a confidence vote, but why are you still holding out the option? What is the glimmer of hope that you're seeing to possibly support the Feds or possibly support this government in some other way?
Depends on the votes. And so I want to make it very clear. Justin Trudeau has to go. He has to resign. And because of that, all options are on the table. And we'll look at each vote and we'll make it.
Like,
What
you
idiot.
just can't make that up. Like,
No.
if you're watching this from some other land where you don't understand that man right there is keeping Justin Trudeau in power,
Yeah,
but he's saying he has to resign, and you can hear that every reporter say, why didn't you just say that, we're going to force a non-confidence vote? Done.
I'm surprised they're grilling him that bad.
Do you have confidence in Justin Trudeau? Yes or no?
Right. No, it's funny because, like, yeah, they were grilling him pretty hard. Like, this could be a confidence thing, but nobody brought up the pension because that's the obvious reason why we're not.
Are we waiting until February until we get past your pension? Is that what we're doing here?
This is literally what he's doing. He's so close.
So do you?
Like, come on, just do it.
Clyde, are you saying February, whatever the date is, immediately there's a no confidence vote?
Well, when do we go back to Parliament? After tomorrow is the last day, the 16th, and then that's it. That's it. The Conservatives are trying to push a motion to extend Parliament as far up to Christmas, if possible, if they didn't get the economic report, which, by the way, a budget, if they bring forward the budget, is a confidence motion. So they have to vote for it.
So
that could put this into an election right there. But they're trying to ride out the clock. They don't, like Jugmeat especially. I'm not sure when they go back. I think it's not until February that they would be.
I'm not sure when they go back either. But here's the other thing is that the NDP are broke as fuck. Right? Like, you think about it.
Oh yeah.
They could add 50% to their current assets if he sold his Maserati. Like, his car, if he had 2 of those cars, that's as much money as the entire NDP party has. And they just had to, I was talking about this before you got here, Clyde. They had to give about 1/10 of their money to Caitlin Ford because of the defamation lawsuit, and she was unable to sue the provincial NDP in Alberta because they don't technically exist. And so then the federal NDP were awarded or were decided to have to give her court costs. And so they were out 30 grand.
Big shout out to Alex Zoltan. Everybody on Twitter knows who he is and who watches my channel. I've had him on quite a few times. He was the one who broke the story that the NDP are broke, and that actually made national headlines because he actually went down to Jagmeet Singh's precinct, his office down in Burnaby. Went in there and they were closed. The closed, lights out. Voicemail, no return. And then he looked it up. It was like $140 something thousand per quarter goes to funding that office. And where's that money going? Everyone's wondering. It's this crazy embezzlement that's happening even through the parties. If they're not embezzling through the parties, they're embezzling through the bureaucracy, through our government in every shape and form, in every way that they possibly can. It's gross.
House of Commons, just 1 second. House of Commons, you were saying February. House of Commons first sitting day is January 27th. Thank you, Zane. Yep, you beat me.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's the fastest turnaround they can have on a federal election. Like, what's the shortest period between the writ dropping and the election happening? Is it 45 days?
Yeah. How many days was
that's
it?
Because that'll be the thing with the non-confidence vote is if Jagmeet Singh looks at his calendar and he gets somebody who's not a socialist to do the math for him, they'll be able to subtract that minimum writ period from the day his pension vests, and he can declare it after that and still look like he's doing it before his pension. And it just so happens that the election happened afterwards.
I'm not sure the exact number of days. I'm seeing in the chat here 35
7
days.
weeks, 35 days.
Yeah.
35 days? That's how quick it could go?
Yeah.
That's the shortest possible. Yeah.
That's why they call it a snap election. It's like, here it goes.
Yeah,
We're
you're
going.
not kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know. If
Trudeau did
gets
it
any
twice.
more, if Trudeau gets any more flustered, it'll be him snapping.
Oh, yeah.
Like, could you imagine how frustrating? Because here's the other thing is there was, I mean, it was just a rumor, but there was supposed to be 2 other cabinet ministers who were resigning today. And then I'm guessing that they just got told to just chill the fuck out because it's a big enough day already and no one's going to notice. And, just do it tomorrow, maybe.
Well, that's on top of Chad Collins as well, right? Said back in October, I signed a letter with 23 MPs from across Canada asking the PM to step down and begin a formal process to replace him. And today, I publicly reiterate my request to the Prime Minister to step down and initiate a leadership process to take country in our new or take our country in a new direction. That's MP of Hamilton East.
Yeah, so they can't do that.
And Sean Fraser stepped down as well.
Yeah. Which imagine how frustrating that is for Sean Fraser. Just like, I've got a really big announcement. It's kind of a big deal. Everybody needs to pay attention to this. And then 24 hours later, nobody gives a shit.
Nobody cares. The guy that ruined he was the immigration minister.
Yeah,
and then he became the housing minister. I mean, like, how maybe he should be the finance minister for a little bit just so he could have his fingers in all of the ruined pies.
Well, and it's funny because nobody wants that job, right? Like, there was at least 2 people who turned it down. And finance minister is basically second in charge to the prime minister. This used to be a fairly prestigious thing among these Laurentian dick faces. And now it's like a shit in a urinal. Everyone's looking at it and be like, I'm not fucking cleaning up this mess.
A little more colorful language than my audience is used to hearing tonight. By the way, everybody, if you're tuning in on my channel, this is the Sean Newman podcast. Everyone should go.
But the guy with the colorful language is Twos, and this is what Twos does, right? Like, I mean,
tell me I'm wrong about the urinal.
I sit here.
No, you're absolutely right.
He literally started the show off with a 10-minute rant. He doesn't get to do that very often anymore, and have given him free reign tonight because it has been an absolute tire fire of a day where you can't keep up with how many people are jumping from everything. You think Freeland's going to be the story, which it was a huge part, and then it just keeps growing and growing.
Biggest story for an hour.
Yeah,
for an hour. I know. I was about to go to work. I was like, okay, I'm done making videos for the day. I better get on to what? Just clamored and put a video together real quick. I got a couple of super chats to get to real quick here, guys. Jonathan Strong for $2 says, I think they're going to try. I think they're trying to position Freeland for PM? ? I don't know about that. Drew Coover with a $10 super chat says the Jags Pierre bum buddy team need to bounce to the Darien Gap.
Darien Gap.
The Darien Gap.
Yeah.
There we go. And we've got David Edwards for $5 saying spelled with a PHAG, fag meat is worth $78 million. He could fund his party's election, but he's being a true communist that he is. He only spends other people's money. That's no truer words have been said.
Yeah.
That's in the theme of real socialism. I'm tired of calling it.
I mean, at least he's embracing it wholeheartedly. Like, he's really getting into the whole culture of socialism.
He's got that
I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to after he gets in, when the first people put up against the wall are going to be all the volunteers who went door knocking for him. And Michelle says, "Oh no, I missed the Twos rant. I had to go for like 10 minutes solo because nobody was around." So
I missed that. So my audience missed that as well. I only hit the go live after I jumped in.
I was here for it all, Twos. I was here for it all.
In spirit.
He was in the background trying to get set up, and I'm just shit talking about how he isn't here yet. I see him looking at the camera like,
if Jamie Sinclair's out there somewhere, he left me some Pabst Blue Ribbon, and I cracked one, And I sat down and I listened to Tu's rant. And for once, I was like, I'm just going to let him go, boys and girls. Just going to let him go.
Yeah.
I'm going to let him have some fun tonight because the entire country is a flaming mess. Somebody put out a meme of Trudeau looking like the Joker from The Dark Knight with the hospital burning behind him, except it was Parliament. I'm like, if that isn't just beautiful,
I'll get it for you. I have it.
in a dark
Canada,
way.
in Canada, it would still work with the hospital burning behind him too.
Here, I got it right here. I'll pull it up.
Oh, you have it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's
it.
That's
perfect. That's perfect.
And then
that right there is pretty good.
That is. Kevin says, "Someone wake up Jamie Sinclair and get him on here."
Oh, here's a great one with the Wicked Witch of the North behind. I just put the link in the chat.
Oh man, yeah, Jamie,
Right,
shout out to
give me
you.
a sec here. All right, here we go. Okay, we have this one right here.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty good too.
Yeah, that one lands pretty hard. I just want to point out that as much as I like the fact that Chrystia Freeland totally just left a live grenade on her desk when she walked out of there, let's just harken back to why we all hate this bitch and why we're glad she's gone.
So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information. And the actual follow-up is, I'm just wondering whether the bank accounts will be targeted of individuals who donated to the Give, Send, Go and the GoFundMe campaigns. Are they considered designated people under the Emergencies Act, meaning that their credit cards could be cut and financial services are targeting them as well?
Okay, so the names of both individuals and entities, as well as crypto wallets, have been shared by the RCMP with financial institutions, and accounts have been frozen, and more accounts will be frozen. Crowdfunding platforms and payment service providers have started the registration process with FinTrack. In terms of the specifics on whose accounts are being frozen, you now have the regulations. The financial service providers have those regulations as well, and they, working with law enforcement, will be making the operation.
So
here's
you're
the part,
confirming
though.
that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate. So you're confirming that accounts
well,
have
now
been
we're
frozen,
laughing at
both
you,
personal.
Chrystia.
So what's crazy about that is, they went after people who donated to a political protest. Now it is a political protest because they were talking the protest's main goal, main initiative. People could define it this way or that way. The main initiative was end a mandate that was put together by the government. So it was about specifically government measures, stop that government measure. So when you look at this in a court, I think the Supreme Court looked at this and they said that no, this is protected speech. You cannot go after someone's protected speech. Talking about the donations. Mm-hmm. So, donating to a cause of whatever kind, as long as it's not a
terrorist.
I didn't want to say the word, but whatever. a terrorist organization.
Because we're gonna get demonetized. Oh, sorry,
it's one of those.
I didn't.
No, it's all
you got to
good.
do like one of these or something.
On the nose, a little.
I always allow Tu's. We're working on him, Clyde. We're working on him.
Well, this is the law, right? So you could give to any organization, and if it's political in nature, it is protected speech. So what they've done is they went, I guess the term would be extra varies outside of the boundaries of the law in order to go after these individuals. And of course, this is why these were the regulations that came in the freedom or in the Emergencies Act against the Freedom Convoy, because they had to suspend civil liberties. They had to suspend the real law of Canada in order to do this. It's egregious.
Yes, but here's the thing: is that the chickens have finally come home to roost. Bok, right?
Bok.
She's out, and she threw a grenade at all of it, and they have nothing but their own hubris, unwillingness to accept criticism, and cult-like devotion to an idiot leader to blame. And that's the funny thing about it is, well, like, you think about it. So Trudeau, like, you see cults pop up here and there, Jamestown, whatever else. You've got this insanely charismatic person who devotes a big part of his life to trying to help people and make things better. And then eventually he gets caught up in the drugs and the sex and the, going off to live in the jungle. Whereas Trudeau started off as an idiot.
Jim Jones was a psychopath from the get-go.
I agree.
Yeah,
I actually completely
he mutilated animals as a kid, and like
that's unconfirmed. I'm not defending the guy. I'm just saying that's unconfirmed.
Yeah, wow, Jim Jones. Yeah,
Jim Jones was the best of us, and then he went into the jungle and lost his mind. No, probably not. Probably not.
No, I don't think these psychopaths come from nowhere. There was a great comment here. David FL with a super chat says, if Trudeau would have resigned today, called a snap election, we would have voted on inauguration day. That would have been effing awesome. That's actually a really good point. That would have been funny if we were all going to the polls on the day that Donald Trump's
getting elected or
put into office. Yeah. But Justin Trudeau did not resign. He's not stepping down. He's got work to do, guys. Didn't you hear him last time he was speaking?
He really can't, because as much as Jagmeet Singh's really tied to the idea of keeping that pension, the minute he steps down, they have to do a leadership race. They've got to do their own leadership election, and that's going to take time. And Jagmeet Singh, even that idiot, can look at it and say, now there's blood in the water, because basically they're leaving the castle undefended for at least a month or two, and we can have a snap election in the meantime. And then all of a sudden you've got the Liberals going into an election with no leader at the helm, which, would it be worse? I don't know. But the point is that he can't.
It's way worse for them if Trudeau's leading. It's way worse for them
than them going in without any leader.
With no leader, here's the thing. People have such a disdain for Trudeau, but there are a lot of people in Canada that have a disdain for the Conservatives. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the situation. So, like, if you're looking for the Conservatives to get as many seats in office as possible, you want Trudeau at the helm, because you want people to vote against there are so many people, like, in the Maritimes and stuff, that have said to their MPs, and they've admitted this live on television on the news, that if Trudeau, if it came down to it, they like that guy, but they'll vote against him if it means getting rid of Trudeau. So we would be getting a favor from Trudeau if he stays into the next election, period.
Well, long term, I think he'd be doing us a favor, just because it would just be the final stamp of disapproval on everything that he's done and represented.
Yeah, and going to an election soon would be great. It would be fantastic, because then, well, obviously we'd get rid of the Liberals and Trudeau pretty quick. It would be really good.
Does anybody? Gypsy says, I don't understand why people are celebrating what Poilievre said in his speech later today. Anyway, what specifically is everybody celebrating? Does anybody know?
I didn't see a speech like that. I saw him talking about Randy Boss and all.
Yeah, I saw that too. If that's what it is, that was funny.
If anyone has anything specific, put that in the chat.
Put a link.
Like later today, like after Parliament?
I'm not sure. It was a bit of a whirlwind, and I basically worked and then did other work and then came right here. So I was just trying to catch up
in the same
a little
boat
bit here and there.
I'm in the same boat. I mean, I can put my ears on and listen to stuff while I'm pulling wrenches and working.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all over the place.
I was different than you two. I was interviewing different people, and every time I came out of an interview, I'd look and something new had broke. I'm like, oh my God. Then I got Twos calling me. I'm like, Twos, I got like 10 seconds. I got a guy staring at me and he's rattling off like a fire hose. We got to get on the horn tonight. We got to get on the horn. I'm like, sure. Sounds great. I got to go and find a babysitter. All right. Click the phone, right? Like,
well, I mean, it was funny because I call you and you're like, Twos, you got 30 seconds. And I said, okay, sounds good. I've only got 28 to go. And then you laughed and I'm like, motherfucker, now I only have 25 seconds.
That's
but
how
I
the day
kept
went.
it tight.
That's how the day went. Oh my goodness. Oh,
insane. So there's a speech from Pierre Poilievre that he said in the House.
Yeah,
so
where he called the libs out. Yeah. I watched that.
Yeah, the link's right there if you wanted to pop that up.
Okay, are we going to watch all 7 minutes?
Hold on. There's a 44-second clip here from Rowan. Rowan usually posts stuff that's pertinent. Pierre Poilievre blasts the NDP leaver. Yeah, Rowan the Stallion.
All right, here we go.
Blast NDP leader after fifth.
Okay, we're going to do an actual reaction video here, guys.
Mr. Trudeau is being held in office by one man, Jagmeet Singh.
He assumed his gender.
A fifth of Liberal MPs have written a letter for him to resign. His deputy prime minister has walked out on him. His housing minister has quit. That on top of numerous other female ministers who stormed out after his appalling mistreatment and abuse and dishonesty towards them. 80% of Canadians have lost confidence in this prime minister. So why is Jagmeet Singh making the entire country wait for him to get his pension? That is the question today.
Pulling it out.
That was good.
I was just about to say, just mention the pension, and he did.
He did. He totally called it out. That's great. It's great. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that because that means it's in the mainstream news cycle right now. That's it. Woo.
You know, I'm kind of surprised that Justin Trudeau, being the consummate feminist he is, that when Chrystia Freeland said she was resigning, he wasn't like, oh, she's probably on her period. She'll be back in 3 to 5 days.
Oh, brutal.
Like that's basically on brand for him. And he'd be like, and we got free tampons if you need them.
Well, one of his other ministers, I forget it. What was her name? That she ended up resigning. She resigned right around the same time as Jody Wilson-Raybould. And
Jane
when
Philpott. Or Selena Chavez.
Selena was the one. So he actually approached her when she was resigning, and he says to her, do you think you can maybe change the timing of this because it's too close to the other woman resigning?
Yeah.
She's like, you serious? Get out of here. She resigned right at the same time as Jody Wilson-Raybould. So this isn't new. This is kind of par for the course.
Bill Morneau quit because he's like, you're spending too much money and I look like an asshole for authorizing this. So I'm out. And, you know, it's that classic Raylan Givens thing. You know, if you run into an asshole in the morning, you ran into an asshole. But if 17 different cabinet ministers resign because you keep making bad decisions and putting their names on it, you're the asshole.
You know, you say par for the course, but this is like, this is a step up for the Liberal Party, isn't it? This isn't like Jody Wilson-Raybould was like, holy crap. I mean, the Randy story has been one of the funniest things I think I've maybe ever witnessed. Just like, I just have a hard
cocaine Randy.
Oh man. Strong Eagle man.
Eagle Randy.
Oh my God.
But here's getting better.
Like if you ever, you know, maybe the company you work for had a crew that just nobody knew what was going on and things went wrong from time to time, but every once in a while they'd have that day where everything went wrong all at once. And it was just a disaster that everybody in the company heard about within like an hour because of how bad it was. Because they were just, on individual days, this guy would screw that up and that guy would screw up. But every once in a while, all of them would screw up something big all at the same time. And it's a statistical inevitability, right? It's
right.
It's like eclipses. You know, everything's circling around each other, but every so often,
At some point,
it all lines up.
And today was that. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Total
yeah.
eclipse of the economy.
It really was. It really was. And I mean, what's being like left out in this whole conversation is the fact that they're actually $20 billion over budget.
Well, I mean, no, they're not $20 billion over budget. There's $40 billion was how far they were willing to go over budget, and they're over $20 billion.
Well, yeah. So 40 was the willing to go over budget.
Yeah, so right. They're over $60 billion over budget, but they said no matter how bad things get, we're never going to go more than $40 billion over budget. And then they went 23 billion or 22 billion past that. Like, our economy's on the edge of a cliff, and Trudeau's still trying to fuck it. He's like a Scotsman with a sheep in his hands.
Colorful.
Because they push back harder. It's an old joke.
Right.
Classic.
It's a classic. Eat Me with a $10 super chat says, by quitting, might be hoping to salvage her position as an elected candidate next election. She should step down and launch by-elections in her riding to sink the final nail in the Liberal Party. She won't do that. She just wants to hang on. She wants to hang on. Just like Randy Boissonneau.
Well, he knows that that train's coming to a stop very, very soon, right? Well, he's not getting reelected. No. The interesting thing we're talking about with this non-confidence stuff is, at what point does the next non-confidence vote come into the House of Commons and some of the Liberals vote for it? That's going to be the interesting thing, because they're super frustrated. That their gravy train, they know their gravy train's at an end, and the best they can do is try and put themselves forward as an ethical and conscientious representative.
Well, I think that's what some of these people are trying to do. And this is what I think a lot of the Liberals are trying to do, especially the ones that are the mutiny Liberals at the moment, the ones that are saying they're asking Trudeau they're asking Trudeau to step down. So a lot of them are backbenchers, nobodies, but they came in during Trudeau's reign. A bunch of them came in 2019, and they'll be eligible for their pensions only days after the next scheduled election. So this is why they were actually trying to push out the next election by a week, because and they used some like Indian holiday as an excuse, but it was like, no, they literally like 2 days later, and they would get a pension, or they would have to survive the election. And they voted no, you can't. They scrapped that idea, and now they're hooped. They have to get elected. So they've basically given up on the idea of getting their government pensions, unless somehow they're able to turn it around and keep their political careers. Now, keeping their political careers, that is going to be threading the needle.
That's where I'm saying, like, they're going to be looking down the barrel of a statistical impossibility. And so, best case scenario, they go out on a high note. Best case scenario, people look at them and say, actually, you know what? Maybe this guy, when the chips were down, he did support the country over the party. Maybe I'll vote for him. But second best case scenario is they can leave holding their head up high, saying that they punched the captain on their way out of the sinking ship.
They're slime balls. They're all slime balls. They don't care.
I like this. Anthony Koch said, imagine announcing a $62 billion deficit, and that only being like the third worst headline your government is facing for the day.
My thoughts and prayers go out to all Liberal cons and issues staffers at this difficult time.
Oh my God. I'm like, yes, Canada is truly a laughing stock. Even political people are like, what is happening right now? Like Tu said, it is the day that everything has just culminated at the same time. We might Vesper just texted me. Vesper might be hopping on too.
Oh,
so
cool.
I guess we'll see.
My phone was going off. Maybe that was him too.
Oh yeah, maybe that was what was up.
He's texted all of us like, "Hey, I'm ready. Can I come? Can I come?"
No, he didn't. No, he didn't message me. No, I was getting messages from other people. Holy cow! Yeah, the phone was blowing up.
You know, twos for you. This has been funny. So before we came on, Nick texted me and he's like, "You should totally do a live tonight." And I'm like, "Already on it." And he's like, "Let twos have at it." I'm like, "Already on that too. I've already given him free reign." And then as we're sitting here, I just got a text from just seeing you guys are live tonight. I had an inkling you guys were going to do a live tonight after what happened in Parliament and laughter ensuing. So the people are quite excited that this is happening. I have Vesper. I see Vesper sitting in there. Vesper,
hey,
our friend from Quebec is in. Oh my goodness!
Bonjour, bonjour, everybody.
Come
How you
join
doing, brother? How
the
you
debacle that is today.
Comment ça va? Le Québec, c'est crazy today, man. Everybody is going crazy. Le Bloc Québécois said it is finished.
Is it really? Or what are they?
Did you not watch what Yves Blanchette said today? He says, I love that he does it with his hands in his pocket, like it's a matter of fact. Like the Trudeau government is finished. It is done. Like the French are just so good at dooming everybody. We've been experiencing here for a long time here with the referendums and the separatists. So hi,
you know what?
Hi, everyone.
As a fellow Quebec separatist, I would like to welcome you aboard tonight.
Thank you, my friend. It is a pleasure.
You know, as much as I disagree with his politics, he does an amazing job of speaking in front of the camera and getting his message across. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when I hear him talk, like he's got a lot of banging comments. And the way he carried himself and the way he had that little discussion was like a 40-second clip. Yeah. But he managed to get everything across about how done Trudeau was.
Yeah. It's finished. Yeah. Trudeau's done. Government but that's the French. The French, ever since if you ever watched the movie The Matrix, the Merovingian said French is his favorite language.
That was not The Matrix.
No, it was
so everybody knows
that was
done.
That was the Matrix Revolution.
Yes, no, you know what I'm saying? The trilogy. So has this been happening? Wait, hold on. Has this guy been grilling you guys like this the whole night?
Yeah.
Because if that's how it is, then I'm out.
I feel like I got
the consensus is that Trudeau is done, but we know that consensus doesn't matter when it comes to Trudeau and his opinions. And because there's no mechanism to oust him from either the Liberal Party or from our government, sans Jagmeet Singh getting on board with ousting him.
We need our own CIA.
There's no mechanism. There's no mechanism for him to actually be done.
Twos, are you insinuating what I think you're insinuating?
I'm not insinuating anything. That has nothing to do with John F. Kennedy.
So I got a comment. I got an interesting comment here from Trudeau ISA. It's abbreviated. Trudeau says it'll be a sad day in Canada when the Liberals get destroyed in the next election. Both parties built this nation. No matter how you feel today, remember this. What do you think of that?
He's right, but not in the way that I'm like, yeah, they made this country exactly what it is today.
Oh, ouch. That's brutal. We all know what it is exactly today. Currently.
Before anyone says anything else, why don't we take a moment to just maybe you've already done this, but to just enjoy the sheer demolition of the brand of the Liberals and Trudeau. Okay, there's no election tomorrow. There's not going to be an election a week, a month maybe from now. What I'm rejoicing most about is that this phoenix will never rise from its ashes for like another 2 decades. I will not have to hear another communist, socialist, Castro-loving, ideological wingnut in the House of Commons have any say. Last poll I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, they're in 4th place.
Depends on the poll.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned at this point, imagine at what point I'm at, Sean, Twos, Clyde. I'm at the point where, man, right now, I roll out a red carpet even for the Block. Like, I'll take the Block right now to just get all these phonies completely out, because at least the Block, they make it sound good. They're intelligent gangsters. They know how to at least rob you properly. This guy is wearing a bracelet dancing at a Taylor Swift concert. I feel utterly insulted as a Canadian.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. I feel insulted. Like, man, if it's a bad robber, it's just so insulting. You know, when someone pulls a really dumb magic trick on you and you knew it was dumb and you should have seen it. This guy is showing
you fell for it anyway.
Yeah. like where's the David Blaine?
Where's the panache?
Yeah. Where's the David Blaine?
This town deserves a better class of criminal.
You know what I'm saying? Today we should. I mean, dude, today I was just shooting off every little thing I could because it was unbelievable. The level of stupidity. And did you guys see what Pierre said? Like, okay, so Champagne, Mr. SDTC's slush scandal guy, is like, me, I'm not going to join any of the thing. I'm not going to take the position. Maybe
I'm
somebody
too old.
else. Yeah, it's not for me. I'm doing other bad thing. I don't want to do this bad thing. Okay, too much spotlight. Too much spotlight. So who does it fall on? Strong Eagle Man.
Strong Eagle Man.
That's right. That's right.
Love you, buddy.
The joke that is this liberal, like, holy cow. You literally have nobody else to fall on that has no scandal attached to his name. This is it's I don't know, it's Alice in Wonderland. This is Alice in Wonderland politics at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? I'm rejoicing. You know, I hear what the comments are saying. They're completely right. But let's rejoice in the utter humiliation of this entire party.
Pocahontas. That was the nickname that just. That was
that's a good one.
That was
I'm
the funniest.
impressed. That's a name.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that, hats off. All right. So Vesper, do you think that they might try and drop the Liberal name, you know, like 5 years down the road, because it's just too toxic?
No.
You think they're going to try and rebrand?
No, they can't.
Good.
They might change their logo. They might try to change their colors, but they're definitely not going to lose the word liberal. Liberal extends across North America. It's an ideology that is beyond a party.
But they're not. There's nothing about them that's liberal.
They might call it something like the United Liberal Front, right? Like if they're going really Castro-ish, you know.
Yeah, that sounds very like goose steppy.
Well, okay, look, the point is
the Liberal Rouge.
Listen, if you look at it, if I was to rebrand liberals, first of all, it would be a complete mind job, okay? Because, and I've said this on Northern Perspective, the problem is that they hijacked a color that is synonymous to Canada. It is tragic, the color red, which is what literally symbolizes our country, the red and white. No one talks about the white, but the red and that L and the leaf, all that would change.
The word liberal, period. The word liberal.
Yes.
Like liberal is the original classic name for people who cared about liberty. This is the banner that Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington. That's what they all went under.
Exactly. Look, even this name Democrat, right, Clyde? This is kind of new in terms of like its right.
It's Orwellian. It's Orwellian for them to be the exact opposite of what the name actually means in the dictionary.
How many more years before the New Democrats drop the new out of their name?
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. Right now,
or Democrat.
What?
They don't even have democracy in their party. They whip their MPs to vote with the leader. There's no democracy in the New Democratic Party. It's unbelievable.
I mean, look, with the NDP, at least you can go NSP, and that would be like the New Socialist Party.
Yeah.
Okay. But liberal.
Ooh, I would actually they should be like the new socialist fomenters or the new socialist founders or something like that,
Whatever.
because NSF would be a really good acronym for those people.
Not safe for work.
No, not non-sufficient funds.
Yep.
That's what that would be. The point is, I think the word liberal, like Clyde, true to what Clyde said, it's not something that you could just immediately revoke. The problem is that we all know that the people that were in that party were not in that party for the party. The amount of spending that we've been seeing, no way anyone's going to think that it was all for the public. There's no way somebody could mismanage money that dumb. A blind man who's the banker at a Monopoly game cannot mismanage money the way these guys mismanage Canadian money without there have been an incentive. In doing so, it says everything that what they really thought about the brand. The last bastion of person that kind of gave the semblance of caring was Jacques Chrétien. And Jacques Chrétien, he was a smart crook. But look,
for those of you listening out west, he meant John Chrétien.
But we call him Jacques Chrétien. You're like we just say it like, because we're French. But the point is that he was older, which gives you more wisdom in like the gangster life. And you know how to properly associate money and throw money around the right way, stay under the radar. What COVID did, and I still remember, Clyde, remember I showed you that day and that Trudeau, like once the mandates started kicking in for the coronavirus after the first batch from China, he demanded $500 billion immediately. And that was like, it went under the radar of everybody. I could show you the government documents of him requesting $500 billion immediately, among a slew of other things for COVID. And that was just like, that was like a sandbox moment for this party of gangsters, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, crooks. So the old Liberal Party, like if I'm getting you right, the Chrétien Liberals, they were just the type of crooks that would skim off the top and try to be gentlemen about it.
Yeah.
and this party is like, no, I'm going for the whole gig. I'm taking everything.
Yeah, I'm taking the whole cow.
And I don't care if you see me doing it. I'm going right in there and taking it all.
Yeah, which is really, it's kind of personified, right? Sean, have you been seeing a lot of break-ins in like malls of people like just no shame? Middle of the
Toronto,
day.
There's been a whole bunch of jewelry stores.
Like broad daylight. They just walk in. Yeah, I'm taking this. I'm taking this.
Hammers in a bag.
We need a better classic criminal. You might as well pull up the clip, twos, and just show the video clip of the Joker, because I mean, that's what we're all asking for. Can we just get the politician back?
We'll get another copyright.
And burns all the money and says, "No, we're going to do it differently."
We'll hit with another copyright YouTube removal, like we did when we were talking about. There's this show called Landsman, and they actually had an honest conversation about oil. And we're like, this is a really good clip. I'm interested in this show. We show like a 40-second clip that actually a bunch of people were like, oh, this is interesting. I'm going to check this out. And then Paramount Plus hits YouTube with a slap this clip down. You're like, I'm telling people about your show.
Oh, they don't care. They don't.
I'm not playing a 40-minute thing of it and pretending it's my thing and trying to monetize it. I'm telling people about your show, and you're going to take me off the air?
Yeah,
idiot. This is Paramount Plus.
This has been par for the course on YouTube for a greater part of 2 decades now. Holy cow!
But just coming back to what Clyde said. I mean, look at the mirror effect of society, how it's mirroring literally the government. Like Clyde is not wrong. They're putting it in their pockets. Like, look at us.
Culture trickles down
in front of you. And I think that's really today what
police telling people don't even bring your keys in the house, leave them right at the front door, so when they break into your house they can just take the keys.
Politicians,
they won't assault you.
Politicians, the way they talk to each other, right?
Well,
like,
I mean,
society watches that. The day that Don Cherry got released on Remembrance Day, and Don Cherry and Ron MacLean were the two halves of what Canadian society was typically like, right? Love or hate Ron, love or hate Don. I'm sure more people on this side got a love for Don. They were the two sides of the coin. As soon as they removed him on Remembrance Day of all things, and if you're a Don Cherry fan, that was like the day not to do anything around him. They signaled. And once they signaled that it was fair game, and people haven't been talking to one another for a very long time now.
I mean, it'd be like firing Justin Trudeau on Cuban Independence Day.
No, on LGBTQ Pride Month. Pride year.
Are we in like season now? Have we gotten to year yet? I'm not sure. I think we're in the season. Pride season.
We're in a season? We're in a season. Yeah, it could be season.
Right. Well, I mean, it's... Oh, go ahead.
No. Listen, you are asking a very important question, because even after spring, because this is everyone's now saying he's going to resign. He's not going to resign.
He's not resigning.
He's not resigning. There's no need to resign. Like Clyde said, the mechanisms are not there that you could force him out. In fact, Clyde and I were having a conversation the other night. We were talking about America and Canada and how unwittingly Canadians have American envy. They don't realize they have an American envy, but not of being American, but of the structure that they have in things like the Declaration of Independence, in the Constitution, in how things are worded, like that it is incumbent upon the people, if there is a despotism, that the people, under usurpation are obligated to take. None of this language is in our whatever. And Clyde, right?
So people straight up think that we have American laws in Canada that we don't. That we have
do
have
not have
protections
free
that we don't have. Are not afforded to us.
We don't have a right to bear arms.
Nope.
But you have the right.
You don't ultimately have a right to property, as was said by David Lametti when he was in charge of the crown.
What did Chris Sims say last week? It's like 1% of Canadians watch CBC at the dinner time hour. Roughly.
It was less than 1%, I think.
It might have been less. All I'm getting to is the point is like 98% or 99% of Canadians aren't watching Canada. They're watching Fox. They're watching CNN. They're watching Joe Rogan. They're watching blah,
they're
blah,
watching
blah,
Clyde
blah.
do something. They're watching
the
SNP.
It's switching. Honestly, it's switching. There's a lot of great Canadian content now, so I think it's switching. But you got to learn how, I just think of myself. I come on these shows. I mean, I go back to when Danielle Smith ran for, I'm like, she's running for the premier and she's not a sitting MLA. How does that work? Right? I had to get on a bunch of political nerds to walk me through it, because I'm like, how can that be possible? And I'm like, how many more Canadians have no idea what the hell is going on in their political system because we stare at the Americans? Many. So, but it's slowly percolating. People are slowly learning how our system works.
Here's what's really funny about this whole thing. So we're talking about this because there's a big build-up of Canadian content creators that are talking about Canadian issues. And what does the propaganda outlet go to? American YouTubers are influencing right-wing politics in Canada. No, we're influencing ourselves. We have our own.
But that's the thing. They don't want to admit that we exist, because somebody's going to accidentally read. Someone's going to accidentally read this article, and if it was the four of us in this article instead of Tim Rubin and the guy in the middle, I don't recognize him. But
Benny Johnson.
He's all right,
great.
fair enough. But if it was the four of us in that article, then you'd have some random people on Twitter being like, "Ooh, who are these guys? I haven't seen them before. Oh yeah, I like what they're saying. Yeah, I want to go more of that, right?" So they're yeah. Well, that's exactly it. If they'd have actually had an honest conversation about it, they would have been inadvertently advertising for their adversaries.
Yes.
Yeah, but look, the American spirit in and of itself has fomented for at least 400 years of anti-monarchist sentiments. Mm-hmm. And so you have a nation that literally split from the crown and fought the crown to get them off their backs completely. Yeah. And yet Canada acts like as if we're all North America, when really, and Clyde corrected me the other day. I called it a republic. He's like, no, it's a constitutional republic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And here we are living in a socialist democracy, but we all have Starbucks.
Well, we're in a parliamentary democracy. So like a Westminster type parliamentary.
And all these people that I don't know, too, if you've been noticing, everyone's like, they all got to go to prison. Listen, you don't understand. the whole Canadian, whatever system you want to call it, is based on this honor code, this kind of a honor system that was never meant to be like. Now we're not going to write the contract in details. We're going to keep it so that we just trust each other.
Yeah.
And,
if for some reason you did find yourself in a conflict of interest, your punishment is going to be exposure. And 300 years ago, you would have felt shame and you wouldn't have done it because of that.
Well, no, we might have gone out and dueled, right? Like with swords or something. But like, can you imagine me writing a contract with SNP? Listen, I will come on your show. You will pay me some kind of money, and we'll hash out the details based on how you treat me and I treat you. Let's not like ruin this relationship with like a bunch of like, details, schmeetails. That's Canadian politics. Canadian detailed schmeetails. But then you go into the laws of like the parliamentarians and the answered in the House of Commons. It's retarded. It's completely retarded. All the laws are geared to indemnify all the parliamentarians. So one act sits upon another act that makes no sense. And that act relates to this act. It's this like ball of yarn that was designed purposely so that nobody goes to jail.
Yeah. I mean, the closest it ever was in like 1937 or something. They ended up having to prorogue Parliament.
Yeah. And you know what's worse? We remember, Clyde, we talked about this. People forget, even if the new government comes in, you forget that they're allowed to sue you. So let's say Pierre does want to come in and now wants to open the books on the Liberals. Well, the Liberals can sue. And how long is that going to get held up in court?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point, is just to tie up the court system and not actually have anything go through.
Their own guy, Rhoda, the guy that Trudeau put as a speaker, they sued him.
Yep.
Like, imagine. So now Pierre's going to come and say, we're going to open up all the previous cabinet confidence we've created. No, you can't do that. We're going to sue you for censure or for privacy acts or blah. We need a republic like, I don't know, like something. You guys come up with something smarter than I'm going to say, because I'm going to sound stupid. But
anarchy?
No, I don't believe in anarchy. We need a republic.
It definitely exists. It existed for a long time. Throughout the human history, it's had the longest run.
No, I would disagree with that. So anarchy would be the idea that nobody rules over you. And what happens typically is when nobody rules over you, you might have that moment for a second until somebody comes and bonks you on the head and says, no, I'm running the show now. And then that's not anarchy at all. That's somebody ruling over you. So
but I mean,
that's not state of nature.
From the time we stopped being retarded monkey frogs to the time we started writing stuff down, that was anarchy.
No, there's always been some hierarchy.
No, there was a stronger retarded monkey frog that was telling the others. The stupider monkey frogs.
It had more monkey and less frog.
Right, precisely.
So it was still retarded.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm not I've gotten into the philosophy of this. And another guy who's famous for being an anarcho-capitalist is Kevin. Government.exe is corrupt on X.
Okay.
And we've talked about this at length. I'm as close to an anarchist as you probably would find of someone who isn't one. I'm what you would call like a minarchist, someone who believes that the government should be as small as possible and only function in its capacity for the small things that are necessary for governments to function, like in order. Yeah, like tampons in your bathrooms. Yeah. No, like simple things like court system, upholding property rights, upholding contracts,
so Friedman.
Keeping your border. Yeah, Milton Friedman was very much along the same lines.
Yeah. What we really need is like the ultimate CEO to rewrite the entire framework of Canada with all of its clauses to hold nobody under any form of indemnification unreasonably. The problem is the crown.
Yep.
The problem is the crown. Our entire issue is indemnification. And I told Clyde, I realized the other day, it's not that Canadians are stupid. There are actually many smart Canadians that understand when you explain it to them. What I realize most Canadians don't have is the ability to contextualize how screwed we are. They see one issue like Trudeau getting away with it, and they're like, why is nothing happening? Well, if you studied history of Canada and particular laws, we did one with Clyde and I on his show once about abortion. You get context. Once you get the context, you understand how we ended up here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, most people don't even know the standing orders of the House of Commons. Do you know the Speaker of the House, Sean, has the power of a judge?
In what sense?
If any allegations of bribery, theft, manipulation, anything gets brought to the House of Commons, the Speaker of the House, he can call the sergeant at arms and have you arrested and brought to the bar.
Yeah, that was why when Johnny MacDonald was prime minister, they shut down Parliament to stop that specific thing from happening.
No, but get this, it's still in the House of Commons. The laws. It's called Standing Order 23-2. And if you read Standing Order 23-2, what has happened is over the last 50 years, which is what a liberal Pierre Elliott Trudeau would do, is convince everyone, let's not consolidate power in the hands of one person. Let's hand this over to the judiciary. Oh, and while we're doing, make sure the entire judiciary is liberal. Like, this is what's happened, is that they've abdicated these choices of bribery, whatever you want to call it, over to the courts. This is why
or the CRTC or HS or
keep going. Yeah. The whole thing is one big mind job. And Canada, it's both simultaneously the worst and best thing, COVID. It both PTSD'd everyone, but it PTSD'd everyone into looking for the meaning of life and going into like why we are in the situation we are in. America didn't fare like a whole lot better. Some states did, but my family in New Jersey, they might as well have been living in Quebec, as far as I'm concerned. What happened to them?
Poor bastards.
What I think is ultimately is that the citizenry, we elected these people. And these people just didn't care. They really didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And they will lie through their teeth. They will get their kickbacks. They will send all of Canada's wealth and guns to the Ukraine. They will do all these things and then tell everybody by virtue signaling, aren't we great patriotic Canadians?
Yeah, that's the gross part. It's the, being assaulted, but then I can't say the R word, being assaulted in that way, struggle snuggle,
abuse,
and then
I've
being,
never heard that before,
and then being told like you liked it, didn't you? Yeah, that's that's what Canada's going through.
I did this because I love you.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. I mean, we talked about that. That's like the number one thing that abusers do. They rationalize it to the victim that I'm doing this because it's for you. You made me do this for your own good.
Well, and then the other part of it is, and I was just talking about this with Sean on Friday. He was kind enough to let me speak for a little while on Friday, and I was talking about how there's all these instances in the past week of a whole lot of different party members and the CBC all talking about how we're not supposed to talk about how broken the border is, and we're not supposed to talk about how bad the economy is, because it reduces everybody's confidence in the country, and it reduces our bargaining power with international entities, which they're talking about the US. And they're like, this is just telling the woman who's getting beaten by her husband that she's got to wear sunglasses and long sleeves to cover up all her bruises because you don't want everybody to think less of our family because I beat you.
Wow.
Right. But that's exactly it. Like, the liberals are totally screwing it all up. They're like, but don't talk about it because it's going to undermine us on the international stage.
If you really
think, and they've been saying the same thing about our economy. I mean, what is the whole term? The vibe session. The vibe session is saying that, well, the economy's not doing good because people are talking bad about it. Don't talk bad about our economy. It'll do better. It'll start shaping up if you feel a little confident about it.
which is really fascinating because Clyde, remember how like for like what, a year now, 2 years, Chrystia Freeland, Mr. Speaker.
Oh my God! I never wanted to hear that again.
We have a AAA credit rating. We have the best AAA credit rating in the G7, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, my ears are melting from the inside, like wax starts falling out of my ears, and I'm like, if our credit rating is so good, and I know how it works, but this is what did Thomas Sowell say? He said, it is not the job of con men to convince the skeptics, but to tell the gullible to believe what they want to believe. The liberals are really good at taking focus groups, finding out what people want, and then just telling them what they want. This happens
whether they do it or not.
Yeah. By the way, this happens across various institutions. It could even happen in a church. I've met pastors, priests that will just tell the people whatever they want, and then the people just are really happy and they don't care. There's no consequences. It'll happen in, like, if you go to can you imagine going to a psychologist that'll just agree with everything you say?
Like, I feel like that's probably how they are nowadays, to be honest with you. Because
they're not allowed to give you advice, so they get sued.
But that's the problem, right? There's no one is going to stand up. How many people are now? I read today, 60 people, maybe 40 to 60 MPs are writing up a letter for Justin.
Liberal MPs, specifically.
Yeah. Why would I resign? I removed the mechanism for you to force me out. So unless they just don't show up to work, I don't see, and everyone's hinging this on Jagmeet. Dude, if half the Liberal Party just walks out on him, what does that mean?
If 10 of them walk out on him.
Like you don't have the majority anymore. I don't need the NDP. Listen, Liberals, if you're watching, MPs, if you have any vertebrae,
they don't
leave the party.
You're asking them.
Let me just say it. I know they don't. Okay.
They don't.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Think not just of the money you will leave your grandchildren, but think of the money of the wife of your future grandchild and their children. It won't last forever. You're not going to secure them after you die. Get out of the way. Get a government that can actually build an economy for your future. We need what, 10? Twos? Is that what you said? 10, 20?
Yeah, I think it's 10 would tip the balance if you had the bloc and the green independents, because they don't actually have enough to form an actual party. But if you had the independent Greens and the bloc, I think 10 more Liberals would give them a majority.
So if you're saying 10 Liberals just walked out, like, hey, peace out, like Freeland today after she was giving.
So maybe the 23 who signed the letter. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah,
right.
If they actually put their money where their mouth is.
And step out. F my pension. Forget everything. I don't need nothing anymore. Peace. I need stability. I need Selena Caesar Chavon kind of mentality. Jody Wilson-Raybould type mentality. If those
people left years ago, man.
No. I'm saying that kind of mindset of like just animus against this, like
those
super feminist.
People like that left years ago.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking like, I'm seeing a lot of people looking at like, did you see Anita Anand today? Dude, this girl was shook. She looked like,
I didn't know. Do we have a clip of that?
Yeah, you could just look it up. Once they talked to her, she was at a loss for words. She was so shook. She was still wearing like her coming from home winter clothes. Like she wasn't in no suit. She had this like really weird toque and like, I'm really shaking.
I think I got it.
Okay, go. There you go. Look at that.
Chrystia Freeland is a good friend, someone I work with very, very closely as president of the Treasury Board and Minister of Transport. This news has hit me really hard.
Bam!
Comment until I have time to process it.
Oh boy. Did you see how flustered she was at the whole like 51st state thing?
It's not just her.
Did you see that clip of them asking her about the 51st state, Canada becoming a 51st state? And she was flustered then too.
Dude,
was that with Vasi?
No. It was in the same location, same.
So if Anita Then you got Karina that I heard just tabled the bill and then flexed. And like all these women are looking at this woman, Jody Wilson-Raybould, they're thinking of their career, but there's a moral awakening that might be happening, dude. They might be like, what have we done? We've literally enabled Frankenstein here. And woman power is, if the women don't step up now in the Liberal Party for what he just did, then none of these women are feminists.
Nope.
None of any of them are feminists.
I'll stand up with any woman that will defend another woman, just like any guy will stand up for any guy. If none of you women in the Liberal Party stand up for Chrystia Freeland, no matter how much I hate her, after what this guy pulled, then you are no feminist. You are no woman. You do not believe in women's rights. As far as I'm concerned, Karina Gold, what's her name, Anand, all the women, all of them.
Well, I mean, they're all about a woman's right to choose, unless it's in Parliament,
or unless it's like intervention for COVID-19 or something like that.
You know what the sick, you know what the sick part about all this though, and I'm just going to address this to Sean. You know what's really fascinating about all this is that we have Mary Simon, Governor General, quiet as kept. The Governor General has the power herself to recommend a dissolution of Parliament without the need for the Prime Minister. Fact is, she's not going to do it. And that is what's disgusting to me.
At this point, we go, are we going to have an election? There's so many outs, right? We go, there's no outs, but there's so many outs, really, right? NDP just goes, like tomorrow they show up and they push on their leader to just be like, no, we're not doing this. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they could kick Jagmeet out of their own caucus.
But they're not going to. And so you go like, we're asking them to have a spine when they're not going to. We're asking like 30 some people, 10 people, whatever it is, the Liberal Party to walk out. I go, are they going to do it? I don't know. Like, I mean, the only thing I could see at this point is so many of them have so many scandals going on all at the same bloody time. It's like,
no, but look,
Trudeau is a commie in the chat is pointing out that we need about 30 of them to resign, and then we can get our non-confidence, because we've lost non-confidence votes by 25 to 30 votes every single time. So if we get 35 of them or 30 of them to walk out,
yeah. But so the number right now is 23 have signed this letter, right, for wanting them to step down. So there's a number, a workable number. 23 have put their name to paper. You go with Vesper's thought with women, and you go, well, maybe they're starting to see like maybe he isn't. Like if they haven't figured it out by now, folks, I don't know what they're gonna need him to do.
You're giving me some real good anti-campaigning stuff that I'm gonna start doing on X about this whole thing. Because
you nail it. But I wanted to share this because along the same thread of what you're saying. Michelle Ferrari in Parliament today. I gave you the video too, if you want to pop this up. She hit this angle exactly. Yeah. She nails this angle.
Yeah.
Again, everything's super quiet.
Myself now for having once thought he's an honest and good person when in truth he would so casually lie to the public. That's a direct quote from former Liberal Cabinet Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould, who learned the Prime Minister is a performative and fake feminist. She resigned. It was just a week ago the Prime Minister stood on stage to tell women what a great feminist he is. And then today, we learned the Prime Minister told the first ever female finance minister to do as he says or lose her role. She resigned. Wow. Even the finance minister doesn't have confidence in the Prime Minister. Selena Caesar-Chavez, former parliamentary secretary to the Prime Minister, felt reduced to a prop for the Prime Minister's image rather than valued for her voice. She resigned. How many women will the Prime Minister throw under the bus before the leader of the NDP pulls his pathetic support for this weak Prime Minister? That's right. Canadians are done. Call an election and get rid of this fake, feminist, narcissistic Prime Minister who is destroying this country and Canadians' lives.
She forgot childish narcissist.
Oh, yeah.
Have you met a narcissist that isn't childish?
I'll tell you, this is the difference between conservative men and liberal men, right? You know, they like to simp and say they appreciate feminists and stuff like that. I look at a chick like that doing a speech like that. hitting all the key points. I'm like, that is hot. Right?
I don't
they're
know,
like,
man.
oh, like they don't really like powerful women. You look at Trudeau. Trudeau, he gets powerful women and they're gone, right? They're either kicked out or thrown under the bus.
Hey, Tuz, I shared.
Well, there's nothing more dangerous than a male feminist. I've given this analogy before. Have you ever heard of the reproductive strategies of the cuttlefish?
The cuttlefish?
No. Fire away, Clyde.
Hey, hold on. I need to find out why you're even studying this. First of all, Clyde, who studies the reproductive? What are the reproductive animals you study?
Well, I watch National Geographic, stuff like that. It's interesting.
Yeah,
David Attenborough talks about it in that voice,
dark.
and when you hear it in David Attenborough's voice, it just doesn't sound so weird, right? So this is a real thing. Apparently, people pointed this out to me on Friday because I brought this up on Friday. They pointed out to me apparently orangutans do this as well. But what the cuttlefish do is, they have their strong alpha character males, and then they have the weak males. The weak males actually have a different reproductive strategy. What they do, because they're like shape-shifting and they can change their colors, they mimic women. They mimic the females of the species when the males are
and then they go
around.
into the cuttlefish women's bathroom.
They do, in a roundabout way, and they wait until the males leave, and then they struggle snuggle with the females that are there. I'm not kidding.
Do they
never
scream
trust
out,
the male feminist?
do
Like
they
never
scream-
trust the male.
Does the cuttlefish scream? It's ma'am.
It's
It's ma'am. I shared something today on X. Did you see that picture, Tuz, that I combined all the resignations? I sent it to you on X.
Oh, shoot. I've got a million DMs to catch up on. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
He says, I'm so popular, Tuesday. I'm just so popular.
Look at this. and I wrote, I wonder what's
wow.
at the center of all these resignations. I can't
Algebra resigned? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Like, I imagine it was pretty
all not
small
running.
news.
No,
I imagine it was pretty small news.
Seamus O'Regan stepped out. He's not running again. The fact is, a lot of people don't know David Lametti. Quit. He's not
yeah. He stepped down.
The point is that we're looking at all these people
missing off of there.
If you just took,
someone's missing off of there.
You got to update this.
Yeah,
Listen,
someone's missing.
This is like the Trudeau...
Mendocino should be on there.
Yeah, and also Chrystia Freeland.
She is there at the bottom corner.
Bottom right.
Bottom right. There you go. Yeah.
But the point is, this is not exhaustive. But if you look at the 16, 8 out of the 16 are women that were in high positions of power. Now, minus one of them, which was like the Minister of Sports. But the other ones were like finance, law. And it's like anyone like Jody. Jody told him, dude, you don't know the law. Remember that audio recording? She's explaining to the guy that Wernick that was calling. Somebody needs to explain his office that he's breaking the law. He doesn't know this. And if he doesn't get his way, he just gets them like sacked. The same thing happened with Freeland, where she was like, look, dude, like I may not be good at math, but like you're dysnumeric. We can't go 20 billion above what we said was already not supposed to happen, 40 billion. And he's like, I don't care. I want you to do it. Okay. Like now, going. Like just do it. And
did you say 8 out of 16 were women that
in that picture, just in that picture,
50%, 50, you know, if somebody asked him why is 50% of your cabinet women that are, that are resigning, the answer would be because it's 2015, right?
No, but I mean, it's tragic, man. These women, what are you doing? You're resigning. You're not fighting for the other woman. There's McKenna. I didn't put McKenna in there. There's all these women that are. I'm saying gold is next. That's my thing. She's like, yo, dude, I've endured too much humiliation.
You don't know what you just took on with this, though, Vesper, because the problem with this is it's the same thing as that person who did that super cut mural of all the different idiot costumes that Trudeau wore. And then, like, he's got to update it twice a week. every week for
because
years
everybody's
on
just
end. And
So
it
you're
just
saying
gets
I got to
bigger
keep
and
this
bigger
running
and
now?
bigger.
I
And
got to keep
now
this running.
you're just going to be like,
Yeah,
it's
got
just updated and updated and
okay.
updated.
I'll do it. I'll keep
It's
it
gonna
live.
like
I'll just keep it live.
honestly, you give this 6 months, it's going to be a full-on checkerboard.
How about this? I'm going to look up the domain liberalresignations.com and just have a meter.
Somebody's listening and they've already got it.
It's okay. I could come up with other things, dude. The point is, we need a live of who's resigning, when, and why. Like a bio.
Family reasons. Family reasons.
You click the picture, and it shows you
reasons.
scandals associated, reason for resignation.
Family reasons.
Whatever. Apparently, they threw a party for Chrystia Freeland. I don't know how you throw a party after reading the letter she wrote him. She basically called him an idiot. And
he is an idiot.
And he was, I think, in a.
It's available for $30.
Here you go.
Well, Clyde's already on it.
I saw somebody on Twitter had said that when the Liberals had that caucus meeting towards the end of the day, when Freeland walked in, they gave her this big, long standing ovation. And that, if true, is pretty telling of the state of things with the Liberal Party.
No, dude, Trudeau, I didn't hear anything from him today. Nothing.
Well, he bailed. He basically just sat in his basement on a beanbag chair, eating Doritos and smoking a bong.
Well, really,
it's
I love this
all
tweet
over
from,
again.
I love this tweet from Alex Zoltan. I shared it with you in the chat.
Okay. All right. Give me 2 seconds. All right. We're coming up. Everything's coming up, Zoltan. Nope. This isn't a Zoltan tweet. This is okay. All right. Sorry, give me a sec here.
That was her going into the cabinet thing.
The purple blob, widely thought to be Chrystia Freeland. Yeah, well, at least she got rid of the red dress.
Well, she's probably running for the PPC now.
Oh, yeah.
Who else would take her at this point?
Would the PPC take one of them?
No.
Do you think the PPC would take one of the Liberals if they tried crossing the floor to the PPC?
No, because I think it's they don't take people that have ever won any ridings.
No, it's literally literally the
definitely not
People's
last few
Party of
elections.
Canada. They wouldn't take cons. They wouldn't take Liberals. They wouldn't take NDP. They wouldn't take nobody.
I might take Strong Eagle, man. He has
you don't want to be racist.
There's a story there,
Those eggs were a lie, Stephen. They give me no nutrients. They give me no eagle powers.
So there was one really good point in the chat here. Studio 778 says any politician who doesn't meet the pension requirement minimum gets an automatic return of contributions anyway.
But that's their payroll deductions. So the way it works is that they contribute part of their pension, and then we pick up the rest of it. But then if they don't make the 6 years, then everything they put into that, rather than giving them like a tiny stipend thing, like where you're this guy I used to work with named Diesel Mike, who worked at a car factory in Ontario where he put the headrests in. Whenever a car went by, he'd go thunk, thunk, and he gets $20 a month for the rest of his life when he retires. They don't do that. Just whatever you did for contributions, you get that back.
You get that back. Can I do that with my CPP?
No.
Do you guys ever used to watch This Hour Has 22 Minutes?
Once upon a time.
It used to be funny. Yeah, it was that TV show.
This is 5 years ago. I watched this a year ago. I sent it to you if you want to share it too. They literally break down how MPs, what they can claim, what they make, how it works, how it should work, and why all of us are just basically sitting there with a stupid ass grin on our face.
All right, well, let's see what Mark Carney has to say about it.
What you pay for. There's been a growing movement to pay our elected officials more so that we attract better people, as if we could do any worse. Which begs the question, what are we paying these people anyway? Every MP gets a base salary of $178,900 per year. That's twice the average Canadian household income. It's twice what you get because they have to represent you and themselves, so technically they're eating for two. Being an MP is like being pregnant, except instead of a baby in your belly, you have your head up your own arse. Now, on top of that, they can get $6,200 per year for serving as a committee vice chair or a deputy or for basically doing anything that is useful in any way. The whips get an extra $31,900 on top of their salary, but you always had to pay extra for the kinky stuff. The leader of any other parties, like say the leader of the Bloc, gets an extra $60,600, which is a nice bonus from the country you're trying to break up just for trying to break up that country. The leader of the opposition gets an extra $85,000, which no leader of the opposition has ever opposed, plus a car allowance of $2,000 a year. And if you're Andrew Scheer, you can make some extra cash selling other MPs fake car insurance. And if you're Jagmeet Singh, you get a folding bike allowance. The PM gets an extra $178,900. That's double the regular salary of an MP, but it's only fitting that the Prime Minister of Canada should get a double-double. They each get $363,000 to run their office and cover operating costs, which is Ottawa speak for booze. That also includes employee salaries, so that when constituents call their MP's office, someone is there to tell them that their MP isn't there. But the fun stuff comes when we get to travel. Did you know that MPs have a points card for travel? Hot air miles. Each MP gets 64 travel points each year. 1 point equals a round trip. I've had the same air miles card for 15 years, and I don't even have enough for a one-way trip to Moncton. And these points can be used by an MP or their spouse. Independent MP Jody Wilson-Raybould's husband took 138 separate flights over the last 4 years at a cost of $125,000. 125 grand? She may not have liked SNC Lavalin, but she sure likes SNC traveling.
If his delivery would have been better, that would have been a good joke.
4 points can be used for travel to Washington, D.C., while only 2 can be used for travel to New York. Fun fact, neither place is in Canada. The only Big Apple MP should be visiting while in office is a literal Big Apple off the 401. MPs also get free travel on Via Rail, which nobody ever uses because they get so many free flights. MPs can charge up to $30,690 in meals, accommodations, and incidentals that they incur during travel. After all, you've got to keep Francois-Philippe Champagne in Champagne. Plus $28,600 in secondary housing expenses per year because, hey, you need 2 houses to validate all that travel. So should MPs be paid better? Frig no! Paying more won't attract better people because if they're in it for the check, the car, or the free flight to New York, you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Okay, before we have any comment, Vesper, I want you to look at Twos, and I want you to realize he didn't laugh once that entire time. You want to know why? Because he hates 22 minutes, and he's like, nope, it's not funny. I'm not going to laugh. I was watching Twos the entire time as that guy's breaking it down, just stone-faced.
I don't understand. I find it tragically hilarious.
It was funny. I mean, that was
hilarious.
Good.
SNC traveling.
Okay, I looked at it.
That's kind of funny.
I said at the SNC traveling that would have been a great line if he delivered it better.
He said
that thing had nuggets, and if they'd have teased about,
he said it would have been hilarious. He said it was a good line.
First of all,
it was a good line.
First of all,
could have delivered a little better.
You know how dumb that is. That's like saying, you know what? If your car would have just been red, the first car ever made, if it would have just been red, it would have been a good car. Come on,
dude. Like you can have a solid lineup. You ever see like a comedian do like back-to-back sets where one totally bombs and the other totally kills, and it's the same material. It's just that they do it slightly differently, or they don't quite have it figured out.
2 things you are never going to see Twos do, Vesper, Clyde. 1, compliment Quebec. I don't think it's ever going to happen. And 2, tip the hat to 22 minutes. It ain't going to happen. His whole shtick is 222
Tonight he just
minutes.
complimented them. Tonight he just complimented Yves Blanchet. He says you got to give him credit. The guy was smooth. He said it. I'm back in twos on
so
this.
So what you're saying is maybe there's a chance. Maybe 222 minutes comes around on 22 minutes, folks. It's possible.
But I mean, seriously,
and even Francois Legault, you got to give him credit too for what he said. But
that's because he's racist.
No, he.
I don't want more colored people in the country. No, we have to get Trudeau out, please.
When he was in France talking with Trump, he was like point blank with him. He's like, so we fix the border and the tariffs don't happen, like just straight up with him. And Trump's like, yeah, fix the border, tariffs are done.
Yeah, but he's an idiot. Legault's an idiot. He's a complete idiot. And the only good thing
he's got one thing on his mind. How do I get the businesses to operate in my province so I can rob them?
Yeah. Yes. And how do I get
more free shit from Western Canada?
Basically. I was about to say that. Yes. And that too, of course.
At the end of the day, Vesper, that was a great video. That was a great video. That really laid it out.
Did you know that stuff, Sean? Did you know that there was this much money that was dispersed to all these MPs? And this was 5 years ago.
Yes.
It goes up every April 1st. Every April 1st, it goes up.
This has gone up.
When the Maverick Party ran in the last election, the first podcast guest I ever had, Ken Rutherford, shout out to Ken, ran for them. And I sat in on a bunch of meetings because they were asking if I wanted to run. And I said, well, I'll come listen. I don't know. What's an MP make? And then I saw the number and I'm like, holy crap, you're not going broke on that. And they're like, oh, no, that's not it. And then they showed me all the other stuff that video just showed. And I'm like,
dude,
really? Like the money argument for good people not going in it is no longer
there.
Think
about it. Mark Garrettson, forehead Garrettson is making $220,000.
It's up there.
Is making over $200,000, and his office is getting $400,000 minimum.
That guy's hairline has receded so much that it cleared up on his back.
I sent you a tweet that's gone out recently. Apparently, Trump has chimed in on the whole situation with Chrystia Freeland.
Okay, all right. The great state of Canada is stunned as the finance minister resigned or was fired from her position by Governor Justin Trudeau. Her behavior,
I love that he uses governor
and not at all conducive to making deals which are good for the very unhappy citizens of Canada. She will not be missed.
Yeah, no.
Trump's back. Like the funny Trump tweets. I mean, he doesn't even have to do it on Twitter. He just posts it on Truth Social, and then everybody
just comes across.
Everybody comes right across.
Yes.
Did you see he did tweet? He did that tweet with Chris Christie and the drones.
Yes, with the McDonald's.
Yeah. He's back. He's back. It's funny.
Donald Trump is back, folks.
Yeah,
yes.
Here you go.
That's the one. There it
is.
Everyone's going crazy about the drones. And it's like, yeah, it's Chris Christie.
I'll bet you anything. And all of you could call me out and say I'm wrong. In my gut, this whole tariff thing is one big, I'm scaring the living daylights out of everybody in Canada, in the government. Canadians, regular people, Trump does not hate us at all. Trump is with us. He wants us. He wants to put so much pressure on our metrosexual prime minister that he wants him to feel like, what are you going to do now, buddy? How's your wokeness going to fix this tariff issue, buddy? Do you have any more money?
Yeah.
Freeland, people don't know this about Freeland. Freeland was doing color commentary on ABC, NBC, CNBC, CNN on all the financial news sectors. I don't know if you guys knew that. I have videos galore of Chrystia Freeland hosting even on ABC primetime, bringing like power hour conversations on stock markets and blah, blah, blah. She was in the US way before any of the other people were, including me. She's more versed with what's going on with the US political economic stuff. When she wrote him this American nationalism and the threat, Trudeau, like, she means it. She understands this. She was there with Cheney. She was there with Bush. She was there like Obama. She criticized Obama. She did all these things until she came to Canada and decided to roost for some reason. But she had a successful career. She was bouncing from show to show across primetime, doing all this economic commentary. And now when she saw what Trump did, She's like, dude, we're screwed. And you're about to make me take the hit for the decision you're about to make. Yeah, I'm out. She's thinking she's going to wash her hands of this.
Trudeau told her on Friday that she was out. It was, you're out, and then on Monday you need to deliver this, which is really short-sighted because it gives her the opportunity to jump out in front of it.
That's true,
really,
and that's exactly
like Monday. If she was supposed to do this on a Friday, then it would have been like, you know, that late Friday news that like kind of misses the whole news cycle. Nobody ends up talking about it.
This would have caught the news cycle. I feel like this probably would have caught the news cycle. But if he'd have fired her first thing tomorrow morning, that resignation letter and everything coming along with it wouldn't have happened. But is he that short-sighted or dumb or, well, I mean, yes and yes, but really, like,
Trish Brew in the comments says Trump hates us. He'd make Trudeau our governor.
Yeah, that why would he do something so mean?
That's funny.
I was actually laughing the other day, and I said, so long as we can keep our flag and our identity, I don't mind taking the United States government instead of the Canadian government under the monarchy.
Oh, you mean a constitution that actually protects our liberties?
Yes.
Something that actually holds the government back instead of enabling the government to do more things to us.
I mean, I like being called a country, but if you have to ask me personally, and this is not my country, I'm not born here, so I can't make this claim, but I'm giving it to you just logically. If I weigh the kind of time it would take to fix the kind of government that we have versus I can have within a month this United States style republic for
open carry,
right, for a state instead of being called a country. Like, okay, to me, does a country matter, or the word country or state? As long as we get to keep our independence, as far as how we are as Canadians, we become the state of Canada. Like, just give me a new government. I need a new government. And to get that new government, it's going to take, first of all, Poilievre's not going to do it. And even if he tried to do it, he's not going to be able to do it in 10 years. You'd have to breach the monarchy.
So I'm the only guy on here who doesn't want to be a part of the United States?
No, it's not that. You don't get it. I want to be Canadian.
No,
I've always, because I'm a dual citizen, I've always been part of the United States. It's like, it's part of my blood. It's part of me. So I'm happy with both.
So
if they merged, I would never have to be
John,
like,
let me ask you a compelling
choose.
question. Okay. Let me ask you a compelling question. Okay. If I switch the word country for state, what's the problem with that?
There is no problem with it. I look at the United States government and I don't see a solution to all of our problems, I guess, would be my answer.
For example, if you're correct, because they keep trying to lie that it's a democratic republic, but it's not a democratic republic. It's a republic. Okay. It's just being run by rhinos. Okay. So this is where you're correct. I'm saying if you were to take the Canadian government guarding the citizens, like the laws, versus the American laws that give rights to the citizens, which of the two would you say would be best suited for you? I mean, I don't need you to be an expert in the law. I'm saying if you took the American laws guarding citizenry versus the Canadian laws guarding citizenry, which of the two would you pick?
Well, but I just look back on the last, I don't know, how many years do you got to go?
You're filibustering.
No, I'm not filibustering. They had January 6th. Those guys are locked away. What the fuck are we talking about?
But that's
there's some bad things that are happening.
I've interviewed Martin. Wait a second. I've interviewed Martin Armstrong how many times? The guy was
but that's
away
a perversion.
For 12 years.
No, hold on. That's a perversion.
I understand, but that's where they're at, Vesper.
I
look
get
at
it.
where, like, what we're
I
talking
get it,
about.
but us with no perversion, we're still screwed. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No,
Even if
I
you
have
don't
perversions. I just don't talk about them on here.
Dude, let me just finish a coherent thought without your masochism for a second. Okay. I'm just trying to say, here's the problem, Sean. Us, if you read our laws and the way that our laws are framed, we are literally like even when no one abuses it, we are abused. The reason the American thing happened was obviously because of the, like they always say, like the war machine and big pharma and all these blah blah blah, millionaire technocrat, blah blah blah. But really, if you look at the Constitution in of itself, it grants constitutionally the right. I can't tell you how many things get to the Supreme Court and ultimately end up in the hands of the citizens winning.
Yeah, it's true.
I got a slightly different take on this. I all for Western separation. First choice, hands down. But as a consolation prize, Vesper, as just like if that's not on the table, if that's not in the cards, Singh says everything is on the table. But if that isn't on the table, I would take being part of the U.S. just because of how much it would piss off everybody in Ontario and fucking Quebec. I don't think you're aware of how elated people in Quebec would be if we became part of the U.S. So you guys could just hang out.
No, we're not talking about the
Cajuns.
We're not talking about the Quebec, like the Quebecois. The Quebecois. So let me back up a little bit here. And Sean, I'm sorry, and Clyde, chime in at any moment if you feel like I'm wrong.
Okay.
What you guys are feeling about this whole national identity issue in Quebec, it's been a lived experience for me for 25 years. The Quebecois for 25 years have been fighting to be their own country, to the point where they walked into Little Italy in Quebec and started criticizing why they were using the word pasta in their menus. And they were sending language police into the Italian restaurants to change the wording of pasta to pat. That's how Pastagate happened. The amount, like, this is why companies leave Quebec, by the way. Why would I stay here? I have to translate everything, and my sign, I have to change its name to something in French.
Well, I mean, there was just a guy who had a case dismissed where he was complaining that a wet floor sign was only in English. We talked about it 6 months ago, maybe on the Mashup, where this restaurant was giving out free vouchers to needy families, where just like, hey, you know what? Just come by, bring this voucher, and we'll give you a free meal. And they had to stop doing it because the voucher was written in English.
Yeah, I know. So Quebec, look, immigrants, most immigrants. Now, Lebanese, look, I'm Lebanese. Our second language is French. Okay. We're the only ones in the
Middle East. Lebanon?
Yeah. Our second language is Parisian French. We were colonized by the French.
Okay.
Okay. So even our French is not like Acadian French. It's like Parisian French more than anything. Okay.
So no, you say that. It's like hoity-toity.
Mais oui, c'est plus comme le français de la France. C'est plus comme le français de la France, c'est moins comme le français du Québec. Ouais, oui, it's not like that kind of a Québécois. It's like a very élégant, le français du France, c'est comme ça là.
You guys are the mimes.
Yeah, basically. So the point is that when you look at most immigrants, their second language is not French, apart from Haitians and Lebanese,
Algerians.
Yes, but for the most part, like I'm saying, Italians, Greeks, whatever, their second language is English. The most of the immigrants that Parizeau said they lost, remember in the referendum twos and Sean, he said, "Ben c'est les immigrants. On a perdu la vote à cause des immigrants. We lost because of the immigrant vote." And most
you
of the
could have been making that up.
No, I can send you. I showed it.
No, I meant what you said.
No, he said we lost to the immigrants. You don't remember that? You guys, he was
no. I just don't speak French.
Yeah, no, he's joking about you.
No, he was completely drunk, and he got up and he was frustrated. He says we lost because of the immigrant vote. That's why we can't split from Canada. I know you two are pissed off about it. You wished it would have happened.
I mean, the next time you guys are doing one of these, can you invite Alberta to weigh in on it?
No, what you're really
see, I have a different take on this. Like, I actually encourage the balkanization of Canada because I think that Canada would be better if all the provinces were to break off and then form a new union federally. So, like, come back together. Like, I'm not saying not be Canada, just the deal we
renegotiate the deal we're in.
Yeah, the whole deal sucks. And every province needs their independence and have to come together on equal terms and agree on that. That's how it should go. But like the whole joke of the 51st state thing is that it's just a joke. Like there's no real push to have Canada be,
nobody's seriously considering it.
He's trying to hurt Trudeau's ego.
Sure.
Yeah, big time.
But where the conversation went, but where the conversation went on here is everybody's like, yeah, I'd totally join. And all I was pointing out is I wouldn't join. I wouldn't join the United States.
Why not?
Right.
What are you?
Well, I guess let's just look at it from where we sit today. Like they have the deep state, they have this large bureaucracy, they have the January 6th, they have all these different things.
Stop. Twos, don't talk. Twos, don't talk. Let him keep going. I want to hear it.
What are we talking about? You gotta want to go to all of you are for lower or smaller governments, right?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, and they've got the biggest state out there. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
What are we talking about here? I would way rather prefer Alberta first, and then
absolutely.
I don't know why you're like. Is that such a wild thing to say? I'm confused here
because they've got a big government and they've got a deep state. So like as opposed to the
that tried assassinating
we find ourselves in.
What do you
hold on, back up. Let me ask you, like Westerners, a question coming from the stupid Quebecois. Okay, let me ask you, Albertans, a question.
They literally tried to fucking assassinate Trump. Twos. What do we? Just because I say the big government, you go, oh, you got a big government, and that's the only reason you don't. It's like, no, I'm looking at it. I'm like,
saying, look at our government.
No, hold on.
Look at how it's
our government.
We're set to improve, or it's set to improve in the United States at the moment, and in Canada, we still have Trudeau.
No. Even if we had Poilievre, we're still not going to improve because
absolutely. Canada does have a deep state. I'm saying, like, I guess I'm not getting it across well here because everybody's laughing at me and everything else. Try again. It's like, guys, look at the debt they have. Look at everything that's going on there. And we go, well, they're a republic.
No, we're not.
Twos. Fuck off. I realize we got debt here. What are you talking about?
No, we're not. We're nowhere close to their debt. That's not the point here. Here's my real question. If Albertans or Manitobans or any of you Western provinces, okay, had all this oil, how many years did you guys have to break off and say, ciao? And why has that not happened? This is where an Eastern guy from probably the worst province in Canada gets to call you guys out and say, all right, since you guys, and it's true, by the way, everything you've said is true about your province. You hold everything. You feed all of us. Why have you not broken off? What's causing you guys to not form Voltron and flex and create your own country?
Nostalgia, misplaced
I'm not buying all that.
It's marketing. It's marketing.
No.
You know anything
Albertans
about
fall
this?
for no marketing. I've been to Alberta.
Are you kidding me?
I'll show them anything. This guy when I used to do jewelry, I showed him a gold ring. He literally bit the ring to see if it was gold. He didn't trust anything I showed him. I'm telling you right now, salt of the earth people are in the West. Why have you Westerners, with all the oil, with all the money, with all the everything, why have you not formed Voltron and broken off from the cockroaches from the East?
We get told from a very young age that being Canadian is super important, and not wanting to be part of Canada is un-Canadian. But going back to Clyde's thing, and like, look, I get it. And what you're saying is absolutely right. And it frustrates the hell out of people like me who think we should just.
I have a question. Who was egging Pierre Trudeau? Was it the East or the West?
West.
That was the West, yeah.
So how many years has that been now? Don't be using no new generation talk. How many years has that been that y'all have hated?
40 plus years.
Yeah.
So please give me, even if it's modern in a modicum way makes sense. Why have you not all banded together as Albertans or Manitobans or Manitoban Albertans and said, you know what, we're kind of done with this project called Canada.
So that sentiment does exist right now, and there are
no, not now. 40 years.
Oh no,
why,
no, but
why has that not happened?
There are people talking about that now.
I don't care about now. I'm saying, give me a good reason why for 40 years y'all have been in this abusive relationship.
Because we'll have conservative parties promising us that if we vote for them and they get in, things will be better. And so it's just this like,
so wait,
believe me, honey, I can change. Believe me, honey, I can change.
So
I'll stop beating you. And that's
so what you're saying is that Albertans for 40 years are dumb enough to keep believing in abusive leaders.
Yep. Yeah.
See, at least in Quebec, in Quebec, we know they're corrupt. Like, we're fine with our husbands. Like, they rob us, they beat us, they lie to us. We're cool with that. Yeah. Plus, you know what? He tells us, look, I'm not good for you, but I steal, I bring money home. What are you complaining, sweetheart? Shut up. And yeah, you're right. Everything's cheaper here. It's cheaper because he's robbing you guys. But you guys are just standing there getting knuckled. And no one's for 40 years has said,
every time somebody speaks up, you get called an asshole. Why are you calling us out on this? Why are you being so mean? But the thing about it is, and this goes back to the balkanization Clyde was talking about, if you were to pitch to pretty much any province, well, definitely any province west of Ontario, and say, look, imagine you're your own country, exactly how it is on the map right now. We want you to join Canada. You're not going to get a say in our elections. You're going to pay billions of dollars every year to be part of it. None of your problems are going to be solved. We're going to force a bunch of stupid ass ideas on you that are going to turn all your kids into crackheads. Crime's going to go through the roof. Everything you could ever possibly imagine, you're going to be seen as an international laughingstock. And at the end of the day, it's going to be next to impossible for you to leave. And we're going to,
if Alberta leaves, you guys are going to become a beacon in North America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
and if you can get Saskatchewan and Manitoba and BC,
top half of Manitoba, we don't want the bottom half.
I don't know it as well as you. You guys could literally become the booming area of the entire northern hemisphere of America.
Yep.
The problem is that and I'm sincere, I really don't know. Why have you not galvanized together and said, enough? I don't care about your laws. We're going to make our own laws, and we're annexing ourselves out of this whole equation. We're going to hold a referendum. Quebec tried to hold a referendum. Why doesn't Alberta?
Because we get told that we're dicks every time we say.
By who?
Everybody.
Nobody listens to it.
Yeah. But Sean, I mean, that's the thing is it's in the back of your head. You're just like, am I the bad guy? Am I the bad guy for wanting to leave an abusive relationship?
Sean and Clyde, is the sentiment in Calgary or Alberta from when I've been to Alberta?
Nobody's talking about leaving, Vesper.
No, hold on. But let me ask you a question. Is it because if we leave, we've become in a way expats? We've turned our back on our country.
So that's a
more
huge,
than expats.
So that's a huge sentiment, and it goes beyond that into anti-Americanism, and this I think comes from Pierre Elliott Trudeau, even though it affects people in Alberta, which is the place where they all hated Pierre Elliott Trudeau. But this is this weird thing that came out of the 1970s where, not only do you have to be like really Canadian, and anything to suggest that you're stepping away from Canada is like, no, whatever. No, we don't do that. We're a family. Mm-hmm. But we have to also hate America and have to make this like divide of like, we're not like those dummies down south or whatever, tropes people have about Americans. And I grew up with this because I lived in a lot of border towns my whole life, being a dual citizen, and having to hear this crap. People like, yeah, Americans are so dumb and all that. You hear that sentiment in Canada all the time. And it's
to be fair, have you met anybody from Oklahoma before?
How about Alabama?
I met a lot of dummies here Alabama in Canada too. It's a crazy thing. But the thing that astonishes me is that so many people think that there's this one national identity across Canada when there isn't. There's a whole bunch of different identities across Canada, and people in Alberta share more in common with people in
Texas and Alaska.
Yeah. Or, people in the West Coast, they have more in common with people in Washington and people in,
what they do. I thought you guys were more like LA, like California, not Washington.
No, more like Washington. Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Here's
very,
a
very similar culture. But the thing is, we have more in common with people in Washington than we have in common with people from the Maritimes, by far entirely. And if you go to Quebec, I mean, you sound like you're from Jersey. Vesper. Maybe that's the Lebanese.
You're not wrong. I lived a lot of years in Jersey and New York. So
So, but like culturally, because you're so geographically close, you have so much more in common. And it's like, why would we shy away from having this relationship with these great people south of us? In America, we share so much culturally. Why do we buy into this crappy thing that Canada and America has to be in a rivalry and against each other? No, we're in a rivalry against freaking communists in China. We're in a rivalry against, people in other faraway places that don't want the best for us. We want the best for each other. And that's a great relationship.
This is where I'm going to disagree with you to a degree where I understand Sean's point of view. Now, I could play devil's advocate here, but I understand what Sean wants. The identity thing, there is no homogeneousness here. We may be called North Americans, but we're Canadians. Canadians win freaking gold medals at Olympics and whip the Americans' butts. They beat Sweden. They've done incredible things on their own. It's the legacy, I think, Sean, that you're talking about.
Yeah, and then when they're done at the Olympics, they go back to their job in America because they got hired by a company down
That's
there.
not true. That's not true. And I can prove to you why that's not true. When I used to travel, and I've traveled over 30 countries in my career and in my life, it was the Maple Leaf that had everybody smile and be nice to me.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about the Maple Leaf, though, Vesper.
They'll laugh at you now.
Is it doesn't grow west of Ontario. Our national flag has a thing that doesn't show up for another 1,000 miles from where we are. Geographically, like you talk about us being North Americans, yeah. You got Mexico, US, and Canada. And geographically speaking, like we are closer. I'm closer right now to like a third of Mexico than I am to Ottawa. Geographically speaking, it makes more sense for me to be saying this podcast in Spanish than it does for me to send equalization to fucking Quebec.
No, but let's face it. No, but listen, let's face it. The fact is, and I've lived here now for over 30 years. Being Canadian, we cannot use the last 9 years to immediately say, and again, you're talking to a guy that talks about branding, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can Canada's brand be revitalized?
Rudy Cast, by the way, has a Spanish podcast.
Okay.
and he does it from Canada. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
So I want to give hope to the listeners. Canada's image can be easily fixed and rebranded back to what it was. We can bring back Canada very easily. It's the Liberal Party that cannot come back because it was tied to a character. If that makes any sense. Canada is not tied to a character. Canada is an abstract entity, and it's in a weird way because it's not associated to any one person. In fact, Canada is a beautiful part about its brand is that it's attached more to historical successes and phenomenal figures, right? When we look at America, for example, a lot of people think America is Joe Biden or Hunter Biden and sex slaves or whatever you want to call it. But really, when you look at the dollar, you remember Benjamin Franklin, Roosevelt. You look at Abraham Lincoln. There are things that a country can fall back on. This is what Trump's entire business model is: make America great again. Let's bring America back to what it was. Once these socialists are gone, and they will be gone soon, the smartest thing would be for Pierre would be to bring back what made the Canadian spirit, For example, my minister of sport would be Wayne Gretzky, as an example, right? I would bring all these people that we looked up to growing up from the 80s all the way through the 90s to the 2000s and ask them if they would want to join in reclaiming the identity of Canada back. Quebec's not going to be happy, but who cares what Quebec thinks at this point? We can bring back the Canadian identity again. Quebec is going to have, they're always going to be miserable. C'est les misérables. You know what I mean? But the point is that I really do think Canada can be brought back. It's the Liberal Party that can't come back.
In 10 years, Liberal, well, I mean, it's getting there right now, but in 10 years, Liberal Party is going to be a slur. Like you're going to use it.
It already is.
It is, but it's going to be like a widespread thing where you're going to be like, that's the kind of thing a liberal would say.
Yeah.
Or you'd have some lazy guy
or some
lazy new guy
Justinian.
and you'd be like, oh, what a liberal.
Or that's so Justinian of you.
Well, Trudeaupian, I guess.
Or Trudeaupian, yeah, even better. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. That's the kind of stuff that like is going to come into the lexicon of our children. Like we're going to be passing this on to them the way some of your parents probably passed on what his dad did to y'all, to you guys. You know what I mean? Like there's some people on X that still jump on, old timers, be like, yo, you don't even know what they did.
Any final thoughts, gents, before I kick us all off here?
I'm eager to actually hear your thoughts because you've been real quiet. Like you want to murder all three of us.
Well,
yeah, you've been giving us dagger eyes for a while, hey?
No, listen, along the journey of this podcast, I was Canada first. I'm no longer Canada first. I'm Alberta first. It doesn't mean I'm against Canada. Everything you talked about, I'm for. I like Canada. There's a lot of history there. There's stories to be proud of, et cetera, et cetera. Going to the thought Clyde had on Americans, Canada, and him being dual citizen. I just don't think Americans give a shit about Canada. I don't. I think there's this thing. So like we're not North Americans. We're two separate countries. I want smaller government, not bigger. So joining the Americans thinking what they have is going to solve it for us, I think is bullshit. Pardon the French here. And I want smaller. I don't want bigger. I don't see the Americans, what they've done over the course of their history in the last 20 years or more is all of a sudden, wow, that's freedom and that's what I want. I look to what Malay is doing, and I mean, we can get into Argentina and all that stuff. I look at El Salvador. I see some of those guys and I go, that's what I want here.
Yeah. But hold on.
Now, I don't know. Now, in fairness, I don't know it all. I don't have all.
What if we got annexed by what if we got annexed by Malay?
We don't have to talk about annexation. It could be what if we had like a cultural revolution in Canada, not an actual like cultural revolution, but like a cultural renaissance where people wake up and get out of this whole idea of socialism being the safety net that's actually good for us and realize that no, that was actually a trap, and we slowly brought ourselves into this web of BS and debt and servitude. We're gonna have to, we're constantly gonna be having to pay this Ponzi scheme. Instead, then wake up and go the route of what Milei's doing. Go the route of what.
I think people are waking up. It just takes time.
So I'm gonna.
It takes I don't know.
I'm gonna land it on this and answer Sean from my last piece here. So I love Renaissance. I would call it more a restitution. If I were to say to Sean, and this is going to make my point, Sean, when Canada beat the US in the Olympics, did you like that time of Canada?
Sure. I said that the Freedom Convoy was that times about 20.
Okay, but I'm talking about that.
No. But you're asked that
sentiment.
Yes. Who doesn't love people coming together?
So that return to that period, that era, is what I'm talking about, is what Canada needs. I don't know why this Alberta first thing now is coming up. Maybe it's because of the money that you guys have been paying out, which I understand. But if that could get fixed in some way, and you guys still be part of the Canadian identity, I think you guys would be okay with that. I mean, I still remember watching the Calgary Flames win the Stanley Cup. I still remember watching all the great things that you guys did out there when the Canadians won that
Glad
one
you brought
time.
up the cow. Okay, anyways, carry on.
No, what I'm saying is Montreal Canadiens won that one time, and then we gave away all of our players, and then we lost Patrick Roy, which is the smartest thing we ever did because we sent him to Colorado. But the whole point was, and then he won the Stanley Cup while he was there. So the whole point that I'm trying to make is that there is a period in Canada, I'm sure we would all agree, 20 years ago, that we would all love to go back to. But you're right, there might be some things that the West needs to iron out that the West has maybe not ironed out, and it's high time that the West get together and reevaluate the deal that you guys have. And on that front, speaking as an Easterner, I defer to you, and I agree with you. I think Quebec, just looking at the numbers purely, we're really getting the best out of all of it. But that's, dude, I mean, can you blame us? All the cockroaches come out of Quebec. This is where all the
bad
corruption
prime
comes from.
ministers.
Yeah, all the corruption's from here. So, Ottawa, it's not the capital. Quebec's the capital. We decide.
I want Western Canada to separate or kick out the rest of Canada, and I want Batoche to be the new capital.
Clyde, any final thoughts before we ship off for the night?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm curious to see where things go moving forward from now, because we're right around the corner of an inauguration of the 47th president of the United States, Donald Trump. It's going to be glorious. I'm really
election winner.
3-time election winner. Looking forward to seeing what this, and he's coming in with a dream team. And where this is different, and this is something that will culturally move into Canada, and I really hope it does in a faster, swifter sort of way than it has been moving in. And the idea here is it's no longer a left-right divide. It's what is this? Lebanese guys pretty intelligent. Finally met one of them. So okay. Back on my thought there.
It's the Baba Ganoush. It's the Baba Ganoush.
It helps. So it's no longer a left-right divide anymore. This isn't what we're talking about. What we're talking about is a divide between the populace, so the people, and elites. This is establishment versus what the actual people in the country want. It used to be controlled establishment, left and right. And we were just told and given this illusion of making decisions in our lives, in our country, and all of this stuff. Now, the populace is actually winning. The populace has won in the United States. The populace has won in Argentina. They're setting the example. They're already winning. They're going to be setting the example in the United States. He's not even in office. They're already winning. In Canada, Pierre Poilievre, he's not even in office, and the culture is shifting, and I hope it shifts far enough that we can make big enough moves in the right direction. And that's kind of it's a thought of optimism moving forward for the future, and where we can all benefit from all of this that's going to happen.
Twos, you started it. Do you want anything at the end of it?
Well, I mean, that's the problem with coming on with guys like you guys is that you do a great job of summing things up. I don't know what to add to it. I think Clyde's absolutely right in terms of the populist. I'd be curious to ask if he thinks that Poilievre's going to do more than just govern by poll numbers, but that's a whole nother nut to crack. So maybe I'll
conversation. We'll do that again.
Yeah.
Gents, thanks for hopping on and doing this. Vesper, thanks for sliding in when you finally got the messages.
It's been a goddamn pleasure.
I got to go relieve a babysitter. So, folks, we're going to sign off for the night. Thanks for hopping on. And, well, carry on, folks.
All right. Thanks, everybody.